there's sometimes things that I believe that I think are a little too like guru-esque, that I would say, that I just think are a little too far. Because if you knew me and you saw my life, you'd be like my friends who see my life are like, whoa, dude, like, whoa. Like, I get it now what you're saying, but I feel like I can say these things in this room, and you guys will agree with me because you're kind of in rapport with me. But if I make a video, people that are watching on the phone are like, this guy's crazy. But I'll just say it anyway and just acknowledge that I get it. It's a little crazy. But I think that when you're really, really pushing for humanity, what'll happen is if you're around people that have done psychedelics, they're actually really, really chill. They're great people. But unfortunately, to get that insight they got, they're wearing down that membrane that, we're here right now, but there's a non-manifest world in every millimeter, every atom of this room, right? There's Wi-Fi going through the room that you can't see. There's all sorts of things in here that you can't see. And so the thing is, you're thinning that layer. And so in my experience, what I've seen is that my friends that do psychedelics, they're great around everybody. They're great. They're great people. They've got insight from it, but they get around me, and then you start seeing these crazy shifts in behavior. Really demonic, scary shifts in behavior. And if I were to show you videos of this stuff, it would blow your fucking mind. Rolling on the floor, screaming, eyes rolling in the back of their head, throwing up, speaking in tongues, like weird fucking shit. They don't do it around anybody else. So I don't know. Maybe it's just some weird social dynamics trick I learned or something that caused it. But maybe I'm just that vile. But I tend to think that it's that when you keep thinning the membrane, that what happens is that you're getting insight from it at a cost. So in effect, what you're doing is, I'm just giving my point of view, that in effect what you're doing is you're getting this tremendous insight by thinning the membrane when God specifically put you here in an already existing ayahuasca journey. Like, you're in it now, okay? And gave you this to see it, and then you keep trying to jump ahead, to get this insight, rather than having that insight given to you with roots, so that as the tree grows up, there are roots, so that there's context for these things. It's like, you put on a guy like Justin Bieber, and he might struggle with depression or power tripping. And I've met Bieber. He's a great guy and very nice to people in person, by the way. Very, very personable guy. But, he's had his ups and downs. He would admit that. And, because he got too big too quick, and there's not enough roots. So then Bieber will then, as a result, become extremely depressed, maybe borderline suicidal. His most powerful song is about how he's lonely. And that's his most authentic song, because he feels that in his heart. He's in pain because his pain system is trying to catch up to build roots for all that height. You see that, right? So what's happening is he's gone so far up, like every girl in the world, obsessing over him. He's just some kid. He's just a fucking kid. It's abuse. What they did to him is fucking abuse. A guy like Bieber, what is supposed to happen is he is supposed to go through pain to create roots. Pleasure is like the tree. Winning is like the tree. Pain and struggle is like the roots. The pain and struggle builds the roots, which allows us to take in what's called light, okay? Spiritual light. So if you take somebody and you give them too much spiritual light before they have absorbed it, it will create ego, not the way ego is talked about in modern psychology, but the way ego is talked about in Eastern philosophy, okay? Tao Te Ching, Buddhism, Zen, all that, okay? That general approach to it, Eckhart Tolle, generates ego, which is a false self. That false self obscures the real self and kills it, which basically means the person is either dormant or dead, okay? Because think about it, right? You have the core real person who Bieber is, or whoever, right? Then you feed too much light, generates ego structure. The core self is now within a cocoon, dormant, so he's not even functioning, trying to come back online, not knowing even what's happening. And then at some point, it can become so atrophied, it just no longer exists. So that it's within a cocoon that no longer exists. Look up Sam Vaknin, top expert in the world, or top famous expert in the world on cluster B. Talks about all this stuff. He himself experienced it. He actually has cluster B. So, and he basically says, nobody's actually here. He's like, I'm not real. No one's actually here. I'm dead. I'm just a bunch of neural networks firing. So you can spiritually kill somebody, right? That's real. That's why when the Bible talks about that stuff, that's fucking real, okay? So basically what happens is you do that to him. It's abuse. Kills his core self. Somewhere in his core self, he's trying to come back online. I'm lonely, all this stuff, right? Like the most realist, song bringing you to tears, man. You listen to that shit, you're like, that's the most authentic, raw, You should see the live performance of this shit. I mean, it's real, you know? As opposed to when he's a kid, he's like, you know, right? Like, but like, why should that be the most real Bieber song? Shouldn't the most real Bieber song be like having fun, driving a Lambo, you know, doing fun stuff? Shouldn't his life be like that? Because he's trying to wake up. He's trying to grow the roots so he can absorb that much light. So in my view, what happens is now, for people who like psychedelics, here's what they would say. You know when you do ayahuasca, you like have some dark nights of the soul when you do it? That is the mother ayahuasca from my point of view. I'm just sharing my point of view. I'm not an expert, okay? Just sharing opinion here. So some stuff I share is fact, other stuff is opinion. I think what that's trying to do is it's trying to actually put you through hell to generate the roots so that the light that it would give you later would come through is what it's trying to do, okay? But I also think that in the process, it is thinning the membrane between the manifest and unmanifest. And as a result of that, really, you already had your life where you could have simply undertaken your life's purpose. And in undertaking your life's purpose, things like the Julian thing or other things would happen, would give you pain. Things like this would happen, would give you pain. You'd get that pain, which then would cause you to be in that pain. And in effect, what Eckhart Tolle would teach, which I agree with, is that we find God through what's called conscious non-resistance. Say the word conscious non-resistance. Conscious non-resistance. So in other words, conscious non-resistance is this idea that life throws this bullshit at you. And what we have to do is we have to, like as life is throwing this bullshit at you, we have to stay present to it and accept it and stay deeply, deeply present. And that kind of opens us up to the connection to God, what Jesus would call, you know, I am the vine, stay connected to the vine. So I just wanted to jump in the video to let you know that I'm actually out here today on the beach, practicing what I preach, doing all the things that I tell you to do in these videos. I don't just do seminar videos where I tell you that you should work on your social skills. I go out and I meet and talk to people all the time. Now, as I'm out here doing this, here's what's funny. I've got students that are out here with me watching exactly what it is that I do, and they're kind of blown away by it. But then what I'm doing that I think is blowing them away even more is I'm showing them exactly how to do it so they can get the exact same result. Now imagine for everybody that's out here, for the rest of their lives, if they want to make a business connection, they want to network, they want to make friends, they want to work on making a genuine connection with someone very, very special, they know exactly what to do forever and ever because we came out here and did this work. Well, here's the thing. This work is not for everybody. You've got to be a very, very special kind of person to have what it takes to come out here and do this. You've got to be an action taker. You've got to be somebody who understands the value of knowing how to meet people anytime, anywhere, and realizing that your net worth is your network, okay? When you know everybody, what winds up happening? You make more cash, you're happier, and you wind up raising the vibe for everybody. It's an incredible skill. Well, what I've done is a lot of people have asked me about these trainings, and so I created a brand new website. It's actually brand new, with a very, very deep video that's really shocking. It's a shocking video. It's kind of an intense video where I go very, very deep on what it is that this looks like. Like imagine meeting up with me personally and going out and doing this. It's a shocking, crazy experience. And on the website in the video, I show exactly what it is that you can expect. It's really crazy. So if you want to see this, click the link below. And if you think that you're somebody that has what it takes, because this is not for everybody, and you've got to actually add value to the group, okay? In a situation like this, you can't be a leech. You've got to be someone who's bringing energy and is serious about results. If you think that that's you, fill out the form right on the website, and what I'll do is come and meet up with you in person, and we're going to learn this together. But again, that's only if you're the right fit. If you think that that's you, you click the link below, and we'll be sitting out here together doing this and change your life. Anyway, click the link, and back to the video. What we're supposed to have is pain. And then that pain creates roots. We have to teach ourselves to be, what faith in God means is that we accept that pain and we stay connected with that pain and we keep our faith through that pain, okay? So, you know, I knew when my leg exploded that was my moment to stay deeply present. You can see video footage of it where I'm, you know, talking to people in the hospital and I'm very deeply present in excruciating pain, but I'm staying present because I understand this has to happen. So Eckhart Tolle says that when you ask for acceleration, that you're going to get acceleration, but it might not be in the form that you think, right? God doesn't give what you want gives you what you need, right? So it's killing the things that aren't real. It's killing the false, basically putting you through the fire so that all that's left is like that core, you know, dense iron pellet in the middle of you that's real. And all the other stuff on the outside gets burned away. It's needed to be great with social skills, to go out and be in a flow. It's needed to be a great public speaker. Needed to get to the root of who you are. It's needed for transcendent arts, for transcendent performance, for transcendent anything, right? But that's the true greats are able to tap into that in my experience, right? So just looping back a bit all over the place here now, but with psychedelics, you're getting that experience, and it's at least breaking you out of autopilot. You know, maybe that kid from China who like has to play the piano, has to play the violin, has to take over his dad's business, or he's no one. Doesn't know who he is without that. A psychedelic could help them to realize that they're not that. But I think that the challenge there is it is also at the expense of thinning that membrane, because what I've consistently seen is that I've got about 30 or 50 great friends, and I'm in the personal development community, and of course psychedelics are very popular in the personal development community, and consistently what I've seen is that my friends that do it, they get really weird, and when I say weird, I don't just mean a little bit weird. I'm talking like, oh, I'm going to Peru and I'm going to do this and that. And I'm like, okay, great. They come back, they look like they benefited, and then next thing you know, and this is not everybody. My friend Aaron Dowdy never did this to me. He likes ayahuasca, benefits from it. Sure, it helped him. But many of my other friends, I'm watching them rolling on the ground and screaming and shrieking, borderline speaking in fucking tongues, eyes rolling in the back of their head, demonic shit, cluster B type shit. And as soon as I have somebody that did psychedelics, I'm like, okay, countdown clock until that happens. Now, they're not going to do that around their regular friends. But if they get around an elevated environment where there's an energy field that is 1,000% committed to ascension and bringing out, and there's certain people that basically are able to, and again, just point of view here, subjective, not dogmatic, giving opinion, that are able to pierce the veil, okay? And so if there's somebody who's able to pierce the veil, that person is now a conduit maybe to God's light. And that person may not be perfect, like Moses. But if that person has that, they will have a certain energy about them. You'll feel it. You'll know it when you look in their eyes. You'll see it in their eyes, their behavior, their energy, the way their voice resonates, what they're channeling, the clarity of it, the silkiness of it. You'll know. By their fruits, you'll know them. And they're not perfect, but you'll see it. And so what happens is that when there's that hole, then you get this person who's been accessing some good insight, but there's another hole, and it might be to that weird demon they saw when they're in the ayahuasca journey or whatever, because people will put these horrible trips connected to that. They've opened it up. Yes, they got wisdom. They got it prematurely. They didn't grow the roots. Maybe the psychedelic gave them part of the roots, but didn't grow it fully. It pops out, and now I've got my top marketing guy rolling on the floor. Oh, now my CEO's rolling on the floor. Oh, now my girlfriend's rolling on the floor. Oh, now my other buddy's rolling on the floor. It's like, could this stop? Could this stop, please? And then everyone's like, you never did this stuff. Don't talk about it. I'm like, dude, I'm in the self-help world. All my friends do it. I see the changes. They tend to learn a lot. They tend to heal a lot. They tend to get a lot of insight. But I think they could have done it in another way. And this will be braggadocious and maybe not my best moment, but I'm going to be honest with how I experience things. As somebody, and very bragging, but I'm just trying to show what I feel authentically, so take it as bragging or take whatever you want. So I almost don't want to say it, but as somebody who pioneered an industry and is, a free social public speaker and creates content and always creating and always artistic, it just gets really tired having somebody who might be at 2% the creative capacity that I've worked on, who's like, you could learn to be creative. Man, you could finally learn to be more elevated and creative if you took magic mushrooms. I'm just like, dude, show me something that I can aspire to and we'll talk. So that's just a little bit, oh, well, this artist did all these drugs and did it. I used to live with Courtney Love. Do you guys know that? Courtney Love is Kurt Cobain's wife, right? This artist did this, and cool, yeah, but they're dead, bro. So anyway, that's a little bit of what I feel about that. Now, what would I say to the 80% of this room that did a bunch of psychedelics? You're probably wondering what I'd say. Stop! Okay? Stop! And that doesn't mean just learn from me that I'm the psychedelic. I'm not trying to replace your psychedelic. Stop, though. Okay? Stop! Okay? Here's my next opinion. I'm just giving opinion here, guys. Okay? And look, for people who love psychedelics, guess what? There's already thousands of gurus online who teach about psychedelics. So can we have one that has a different opinion? Is that okay? Didn't the psychedelic tell you that different people can have different opinions if you learn from it? So I can have a different opinion if I want, okay? I'm allowed to share it, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, and I guarantee I'm losing clients if I put this out. So it's not in my favor to put this shit out. So, okay, but the self-help community, the problem is I have speeches that I do about psychedelics where I talk about this a little bit, and I got these video editors from overseas, and they're just trying to get views up, and they'll literally take videos of mine where I talk about some of the benefits of psychedelics, say what I don't like about them, And they'll make it look like I'm saying that I like it in a reel, in a cut reel from like a long talk. And then they get like triple the fucking views, and then all these hot girls in LA like it. Like I'll be like, oh, that girl from my party, like she's like, ooh, I like this. Yeah, like I like Owen more now, right? So you get more views when you say that you're in favor of it. So if you say you're against it, or at least concerned about it, not saying that I know everything, but you're concerned about it, then what happens is you get it to where you lose views, right? If I put out like this in a video, it's like 7,000 views. If I'm like, take the DMT, it's 100,000 views. So you see what's going on here, right? And you're losing, so I'm getting less views to piss off my client base and to lose clients. So just be aware of that when you're hearing about this new stuff, just to be aware of that. Look, even RFK Jr., who's super pro psychedelics, go read his crazy journals about his sex addiction and like all this like self-hate he's going through, okay? So not everyone is perfect, okay? I know he likes the methylene blue and all that stuff, but just because someone likes something doesn't make them perfect, and including me, okay? Again, when people get drunk, what happens? They get all fucking drunk, and what do they call alcohol? What's the other word for alcohol? Spirits, right? And so what happens is they drink spirits, and then they get all demonic, and they start fucking fighting each other and beating the shit out of each other. And there's a lot of explanations for that in brain chemistry and what it does to hormones and this and that. And it's not just a spirit necessarily, but there's a good it frankly often looks like a goddamn fucking spirit, okay? So there's some ancient truths that we've kind of just completely wiped away. And you got to be careful, because guys, you could also get somebody who has these like openings, who's got his finger on the nuclear codes. People of influence, people of power. You could argue that if there's demonic entities out there, that they're probably targeting people of power. So if you're going to ascend, it's almost like you're going into space. And the deeper that you get into space, the more that you have to be like very high integrity, because you're getting deeper and deeper. And if there's any little hole in that ship, boom, it implodes. So if you're going to really ascend and make a real run at ascension and a real run at making the world better, you better have your shit straight. And I'm not saying that I do. I'm a work in progress, baby. I got mentors and people that I pay to help me. So I'm a work in progress. I got a long way to go. Don't look at me as the model of it. I'm just sharing some stuff on my journey. But what I say is, as you escalate, realize that you become a target. So you want to be clean and tapped in. And that psychedelic type experience that you want to have, that in my view comes from going into nature, by the way, okay? Like go to Monument Valley, go to the Nepali coast, go to Alaska, go to Glacier Park, go to the Going to Sun Road, go to the Redwood Forest. You want to be a Smurf and a psychedelic? Go to the Redwood Forest. You will literally look like a fucking Smurf, okay? You will be a Smurf, because the trees are 50 times the size of a tree or something like that, whatever it is, right? But go into nature, still the mind, get tapped in, figure out what your purpose is, figure out why you're here. Then realize what your life's purpose is, undertake that journey, that hero's journey, as Joseph Campbell would talk about, undertake it, and what you're going to discover is in that process, the pain will find you. The pain will find you. The challenges will find you. These journeys will bring you to your knees. You will sit there, in nature, crying, God, help me. I'm trying to fulfill my mission here. How do I get there? I can't, I'm trying to ascend here and trying to bring light here, and people that I count on are fucking up. And, other people are causing problems, and I'm probably standing in my own freaking way. And I'm lacking clarity, and I need to find clarity, and challenges come up, and that will create that root system being built where you can absorb more light, because in effect what's going to happen is that as you're going to be absorbing more light, and the reason why you can absorb more light is because as you go through pain, the only way out of that pain, just say this after me, which is a cliche, say you either get bitter or better. So do you know how you talk about you can go into victim or growth? So basically bad stuff happens, going into victim, why it's so evil, why it is so deeply evil. And by the way, have you guys ever seen political parties that encourage feelings of victimhood? There could be an argument made there that you got to make people aware of what's happening, fair enough, but they're often frothing it to where people don't even acknowledge their own agency. So there's pros and cons to it. I'm not saying it's all bad. There's synthesis here, but there often can be bad, and pros and cons. And so, what I would say there is like, that thing happens that you think you're a victim, when in fact it was there for you to some extent. And that can be your if you choose to not be a victim, because you're only ultimately a victim if you say I'm a victim, right? But as long as you're still alive, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you can acknowledge that what happened maybe shouldn't have happened. It's horrible, but you can stay present through it. And as you do, then the roots grow because you're able to stay present through that much more discomfort, right? That's why older spiritual practices might include, the old, little type spiritual cults where they might sit on a bed of nails, or they meditate for 3 weeks with no stimulation, or they, spin around in a circle, or, they go into and you got to be careful with these because they can hurt you, but things like a sweat lodge, right? There's cases where people die doing that, but, you go into a sweat lodge, or, you go into nature and do a very hard hike as like a retreat, you find things that are hard. And when you stay present through those things, you can now absorb more light. Look, if I require ascension, if I require, say the word acceleration, say that. Acceleration. So if for my mission, I need to get acceleration for where I'm trying to take that mission, I'm not trying to make it all about me, it's your story. But if you are needing acceleration and God says, and again, who knows, maybe it's just a random accident, and God says, okay, I'm gonna blow your leg out, and then you sit there for 2 months in excruciating pain, gaining fat, sitting there losing muscle, not able to move, in discomfort, you sit there. Well, there's 2 ways out. You either succumb to it and you go, and you become a victim, or you say, I'm not a fucking victim, and then basically what you do is you sit there and you breathe through it. If you are forced to learn how to breathe through that and stay present to that, that's like an advanced course of meditation. That's meditation mega advanced, like a video game, right? The hardest level of the video game. It's probably even harder than that, like a burn victim. Maybe a little too hard. But, and we ask ourselves what would be the purpose of something like hell. Let's say that your soul did go to hell. What might that be doing? Might be taking you like a rubber ball going boing, shooting you down so you can shoot back up. Maybe there is a hell. I don't know. Maybe there is where your soul would go, have pain because you didn't get it cleansed here. You go down to hell until you can learn that non-resistance, aka connection to God, the togetherness of it, the non-separateness of it. And then what you do is you can actually take another crack at it. I don't know. I'm just shooting ideas out. Right? You don't need to smoke a joint to shoot around some funny ideas, okay? So just shooting out some, it's like a weed conversation in our basement or something, or out in a campfire. I don't have any proof of any of this, but I'm just making this point, right? You can think about this stuff and just create ideas about it. So what I'm getting at is that version of hell that you experience is there with intention. And that's why the base level epiphany of all personal growth is you're not a victim. You're the cause, not the effect. At higher levels of personal growth, there's some ideas that I don't, I think these are a little over the top, but they have kernels of deep truth, even though they're over the top. You'd have things like reality transurfing by Vadim Zealand, or the law of attraction, which would basically say that if you can learn to be at the cause of your own vibration, not from circumstances, but that you are at the cause. They also talk about this in the Kabbalion, okay? Look this stuff up, write it down, look it up. Don't take it dogmatically or you're really hurting yourself, but you can take the ideas. Then if you learn to be in the control of your own vibration, you are now in a state where you're an alchemist, and you can alchemize that energy to where you are now at the cause. Now you are entering into a creator energy like God. That doesn't mean you are God. That's a big problem with psychedelics too. I'm God. You're not God. Okay? And that's a really, really subtle but key distinction that a lot of people that go down certain paths start to believe. You're not God, guys, okay? You barely can even handle your bank account or to go get a burrito. You're not fucking God. But we have the capacity to be made in the image of God, and alignment to that image of God would be this. It is your creator energy to be at the cause, not just to be at the effect. That's why having children is so important, right? Or adopting if you can't have children, because you get to bring life. You get to create. You're not just given everything, but instead you get to create. So we become like God by loving unconditionally, even people that hurt us. Because God has just an outward flow of energy. We become like God when we create. We become like God when we see because we connect to God when we realize, to some extent, an element of non-dual awareness. Oh, you're in pain, but you can still see the togetherness in that. You can still see the bigger picture of that, as opposed to just being a victim. Doesn't mean to go break your own leg, guys, okay? When you engage this and you call it upon yourself, the pain will happen to you. A lot of great prophets or powerful people get assassinated, or they live in pain the rest of their life, right? Jesus was crucified, right? So, I just had a ski accident, right? So it's, there's levels, right? You could have a lot worse. So what I'm getting at is that pain that you have can be transmuted. So you're thinking, oh, I just wish I had the money. I just wish I had the status. I just wish I had the girls, whatever, right? not realizing that if you even got that, that would be abuse. You have to earn it. That is why too much socialism can be bad. You just give people a bunch of shit. What happens when AI can give you all these different adventures and you didn't have to earn any of them? Stimulus, 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 stimulus. The roots don't grow because the roots, pay attention. The roots don't grow. The pain is removed. Very few people would have the balls to actually attack life in a genuine way and take that pain. Why would you go skiing and break your real leg when you could go in a VR version and have the exact same experience or better, not even have to learn, not have to risk breaking your leg, not have to risk dying, not have to risk getting paralyzed? You know, what are you going to say to someone who got paralyzed trying to ski? Oh, just take the lesson, bro. It's God's plan for you to be fucking paralyzed, right? So what'll happen is you may see it to where people are no longer willing to take that pain. AI is running everything. People don't even know any longer how to even control this thing that's running their whole life. They give up their power to that. And then what happens is that because the root system is never allowed to evolve, then what you see from that point is a lot of it's like a Justin Bieber type abuse reality. Then what happens is that AI, very similar to a business owner, when a business owner realizes that there's redundancies and a waste of energy, what does it do? What's it do? If I've got an unperforming staff, what do I do? Well, you kind of have to, right? That's called evolution, right? Oh, the AI is here to serve us. It's going to serve us. Look, it might. I don't know, guys. I hope it does, and we'll live in a utopia. And it could. It genuinely could. I don't know. I don't claim to know. But what could also happen is that people now are the equivalent of all like a bunch of fucking divas. And then what does the AI need your dumbass for? That's called a useless eater. You see what I'm saying, right? So then what happens is that, in effect, the energy of, and again, I don't believe in saying like some guy with horns, but that kind of sick energy that wants to control, because again, you have the manifest or unmanifest and you have the piercing of the membrane. Now you're opening up this massive fucking portal, okay? You're opening that up. That negative portal gets opened massively. And so what winds up happening is that people no longer have a soul. Because what I've seen is that people's souls often die before the body dies. What does that mean? There's no proactivity there. There's no genuine presence there. There's a lack of consciousness there. They are completely on autopilot. It's very similar to what happens to someone with cluster B, where there's a cocoon around it and the core atrophies and goes away. There's a lack of real proactivity, right? You have to have some connection. By the way, pause and consider a major element of most spiritual traditions is achieving proactivity as opposed to a mechanic, robotic nature. Okay? And we see things like the Milgram experiment, the Osh experiments talking about how manipulable people are. It's really sick. And, you know, we don't try to wake people up. We just want to keep them compliant and the system running. It's like there's a myth called the in the bed of Procrustes, where there's like a hotel in Greek mythology. And, you know, it's all perfectly shaped. So we'll cut your head off to fit you in the bed. You know, you kill it because the hotel becomes more important than the individual. You know, the system becomes more important than an individual life. So what can then start to happen is people are unconscious. And in effect, what you see is kind of like what they would be talking about in these apocalyptic prophecies in Christianity, right? Mark of the beast wakes up, 666, social credit score system, which we've already seen during 2020, and so on and so forth, right? And people worship the beast and all that kind of stuff. Is it real? Is it not? You know, the book of Revelation, I can't tell you. Is it a warning and a trance and some kind of prediction, or is it just some crazy motherfucker? Maybe that guy took too much ayahuasca, you know, right? If you ever read it, it's a crazy-ass book. But there's something there, at least, right? God wants to see that for some reason. So what will happen is we will, in effect, risk giving up our humanity before we even found out what it is. Now, we say to ourselves, well, how do we achieve that proactivity? And what people don't realize is that human beings, in my view, we have a vacuum. We don't necessarily have just our own will. That's why guys like Aleister Crowley that are, you know, have a lot of brilliant things to say, because even evil people have a lot of brilliant things to say, and was cartoonified in certain ways and so on and so forth. It's not like a black and white thing. But a guy like an Aleister Crowley, like famous Satanist type of guy, that's really glossing over him and not respecting some interesting things he did say, because it's always a mix. But he would say, what is the quote from Crowley? What do we see? Come on, say it louder. Do as thou wilt. Say it louder. Do as thou wilt. Yeah, now people clip this and think I'm teaching Crowley when I'm teaching the opposite. Yeah, they do that to me. So, yeah. So, by the way, when I researched that, I was curious to see what was in it because I want to see what's in there. I remember I was at the mother of my kids, the nicest woman I probably met in my whole life. And I remember I was just listening to this stuff, and she went nuts. Okay? She started fucking screaming, fuck you, I fucking hate you, fuck you, I fucking hate you, you don't appreciate me, and ran out of the house. Wow. Happiest woman you ever seen, never acted like that. You know her. Would you picture her doing that? No. Not crazy? Yeah. Bang! Only ever happened one time. So, I don't know what that means. An analogy's not proof, right? You'd have to replicate the experiment, but I'm just saying it's kind of fucked up. So, do as thou wilt. In other words, we have that vacuum for God. That would be a way of looking at it. And what happens is that when we don't connect to God, and you say, do as thou wilt, the analogy of Satan as someone who said, I'm going to go to earth and do what the fuck I want. And I'm going to stand out and be special and acknowledge entirely my own individuality instead of the way that we're all one. You see what's going on there, right? In other words, the egoic structure, which in the Tao Te Ching would talk about as an impediment to the flow. So the Tao Te Ching, one of the most important texts you'll ever read. You can look up Wayne Dyer, reading a version of it in about an hour. It's about an hour or two. Wayne Dyer, Tao Te Ching, has binaural beats in the background. Couldn't ask, it's like trance-inducing. I listen to it all the time. And it views ego as that separation that becomes a kink in the hose from the natural flow of the Tao. And the Tao has an expanding energy, but also a returning energy. And so what happens is that if we get caught only in the expansion, like say Bieber, but we don't have the returning energy that we can also connect to and embrace, then we don't accept our death as an example. And if we do not accept our death, then we can never connect to the Tao. Which means that basically what you're doing is what Crowley's saying, do as thou wilt. You build AI systems to do as thou wilt. You build the AI system. You build ego. You stay unconscious. And now you've got the same society that you saw, especially here in Minnesota, embracing 2020, embracing that stuff, being controlled, and so on and so forth, because they're asleep. Maybe there might have been a couple people that really believed in it through their own eyes, but most were asleep. I actually would respect someone who believes that through their own eyes. But, you know, just in their own estimation, it's just what they thought to be true. But a lot were asleep and just in the herd, right? So the only actual, in a bizarre way to think about it, the only way to achieve proactivity is to embrace God. Because without that embrace, we do not have will. And without that will, we do not have a soul. And without that soul, there's nothing to continue on after death. Which means you die when the body dies. Just a thought. Okay? So, how do you guys feel about what we covered so far? Anyone scared? No. Okay, you should be. So, what I'd say is, you know, look, if you want to just like be maybe blunt here, you're getting really abstract. We'll go a little more like ground this stuff. Guys, when you're me, okay, and you know, you go out and study social skills for years and years, the stuff that you see, you just can't believe. You're like, this is crazy, okay? Like, for example, I'm going to ground a bit of this. Like, guys will be like, is it true that, like, your girlfriend's going to cheat on you? I'm like, yes, but in addition to that, that's the least of your problem, okay? Like, the fact that your girlfriend would cheat on you, most likely, is, and, you know, just because you're from LA. No, I hang out in Oregon, guys, like I said earlier. So it's like, at everywhere in regular places. So the fact that your girlfriend would cheat on you, that's not your biggest problem. The bigger problem is that you cheat on your girlfriend but don't know it. But you're like, no, I wouldn't. Not me, okay? Cool, bro, okay? We'll see what I'll put in front of you. We'll see what you do, okay? So that's the bigger problem. So you don't reckon, yes, your girlfriend's unconscious, but you're unconscious. So what does Jesus say about center-shotting other people's unconsciousness?
Don't judge the chip in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own eye.
You got it. Okay, give him a hand. He knows the quote. Yeah. So in other words, what you have, can you guys tell that you know, a lot of this shit's epigenetic, right? So you can tell, like, I taught all this, like, social skill stuff for years, but my great-grandfather was a Christian preacher. Can you guys tell? Do you see epigenetic, a little lesson in epigenetics here, right? Like, this shit's deep in my fucking blood. Like, it resonates heavy, right? It's in there, man. Like, I look at this stuff, I start crying, like, fucking portals start opening and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So it's deep in there for me. So I'm just sharing, like, my epigenetic makeup here a little bit, okay, guys? So you don't have to believe what I'm saying. Just sharing a little bit. Maybe a little lesson in public speaking, okay? I'll get you guys public speaking tomorrow, so you can like kind of model my speech here a little bit, the way I carry the speech, even if you disagree with the content. But anyway, so I I got to the point where I'm able to produce such crazy results that it scares me. I'm like, I don't like that I can do this, okay? So an example would be the Milgram experiment, right? You guys know what that is? Basically, they put a guy like in a lab, in like a little like doctor's outfit. They bring people in, and the guy will basically direct people to kill their buddy from behind the glass, or to kill someone from behind a glass wall. And they just do it because the guy's got a white lab coat on. Or the Osh experiment, where what they'll do is like, they'll be in a room and like there'll be like 9 actors there and you, and then they'll pull out like a yellow card, and the other 9 actors will say that it's red, and then people will just, and then even though it's the other color, and then by the time they ask the person in the experiment, they just go with what the group said, because the mind is scanning for how to achieve safety and social harmony as opposed to accuracy, right? So as you start to realize, plus running a business and just seeing how people rationalizing like basically like screwing you, and how like when they screw you, like that's just one part, but then like you realize like they believe that what they're doing is right, like they totally believe what they're doing is right. They even feel victim, like they think that you victimize them when they screw you, and they believe it so thoroughly they can look you in the eye and say it, and you'll believe them. You're like, what the fuck? And so when you just see the degree of unconsciousness, you get scared, man. You know? So like, you know, you go make your millions, you have a great dating life, but you're fucking scared. You're like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want to be the king of a trash heap. This sucks. I don't like this. So it starts scaring you, you know? It's like, oh, like these guys like looping on like if their girlfriend's gonna cheat on them. I'm like, we got bigger problems, bro. Like, that's a canary in the mine shaft, homie. Like, we got way fucking bigger problems to deal with than like, you know, if your girlfriend got dicked down by a Chad. Like, we got way bigger problem, and that's a big problem. That's a big problem. But there's bigger. So you start to realize like what the hell is going on, and you start to want to understand consciousness. And paradoxically, what you'll realize, if you agree with me, if you have your own opinion, that's cool too. It doesn't have to be an Osh experiment on you, right? You're allowed to have your own opinion. But just sharing mine, just unfiltered, just sharing, not persuading, but sharing, maybe persuading a bit, but trying to share. Paradoxically, by giving up your will to God, you actually generate your own will, but not the do as thou wilt version. But it's like, because what it does is it provides buoyancy to your soul. Like, it provides buoyancy to your proactiveness. So what happens is you're being held buoyant either by, repeat this after me, biological drives. It's like, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm horny, I'm tired, right? This is running you. It's not you, by the way. It's your temple. Egoic drives, say that. Egoic drive. Right? Do I look cool? Am I not cool? What do they think? I'm going to put them in their place. All this stuff, right? Addiction, say that. Addiction. So by the way, if you actually see what real addiction looks like, it really is one of the craziest things you'll see in your fucking life. It's fucking crazy, bro. Like, my buddy, I love this guy. He got addicted on alcohol. He would be so addicted on alcohol, he was crashing in my house, he would sneak down to my buddy's liquor cabinet, and he'd be drinking booze till he would pass out. Like, he'd drink the booze till he passes out. Like, real addictions are like really scary, guys, okay? It's way more scary than you think. You drink booze till he passes out. And then what would happen is he'd wake up and he'd keep drinking. When he'd eventually come out of it, he'd have a week where he had no memory of it. A week gone. We eventually would have to cuff him to the fucking, try to save his life, cuff him to the stairs so he wouldn't go get drunk so he could sober up and see what he's doing. I remember one time he sobered up. I said, bro, I'm going to take you down to, there's a place called Next Health, and I'm going to get you an IV so you can like clear this out of your system so you don't have this horrible hangover. We go down to Next Health, he gets the IV, and then he just starts throwing up. I asked him, like, does this IV cost people that were drinking and throw up? They go, no, that could never happen. Literally, when I turned my back for even a minute, he snuck and went and got more alcohol before getting the IV. As he's talking to me, he's saying, no, I'm not going to drink anymore, thank you for the IV, while being drunk. What's happening there? There's no conscious will. His conscious will is, repeat this after me, his conscious will is receded. He appears awake. He is in fact asleep. The thing that looks awake is just a bunch of neural networks firing. And that is real hell, okay, guys? Okay, say that is real hell. Because you're not there. You're not actually there. There's no one there. That's why the Osh experiment works. That's why, from, again, my point of view, that's, clearly I believe it, right? But that is why the Milgram experiment works. That's why looks and money don't matter, guys. Okay? Like, looks and money don't matter in dating. Like, these guys that are like, looks and money are everything. I'm like, have you seen the Milgram experiment? Like, learn some frame and confidence, you moron. You fucking moron. You pathetic fucking moron. Okay? If I can do this in a wheelchair, if the Osh experiment, the Milgram experiment can happen, you can get a date. When you're not a Giga Chad, you get a date. Okay? But these guys have no fucking frame, and then they rely on society's frame to tell them they're good by looking a certain way to get frame. See that? And that's what you wind up needing when you don't have a higher power connection, okay? So, very broad. Do you remember I said that I will go advanced today? Remember I said when I came in here, I said, I'm not just going to stick at newbie level stuff. Like my stuff should be learned within a context, and I'm here to just record some crazy stuff. Guys, I've taught newbie stuff for years. If this is going over your head, watch my old stuff. Remember Jay-Z's quote? If you like my old shit, listen to my old album, okay? So my old stuff is great. I'm not just because I don't repeat the same stuff every seminar, although I have covered the same themes, it doesn't mean I don't love the older stuff. I've got old instructors that I taught that still teach my old stuff because they didn't have the creativity to make their own stuff, have left the company, they teach it. And then people will be like, I wish Owen would like keep it like this. That's why I created him with his help too, okay? So I wouldn't have to just get stuck. So I help, when you're building an ideology, you know, you remember some of my friends here that were helping teach some of the more foundational stuff earlier today? So if I were to release this, could you guys confirm that you guys had from 3 until like 8 p.m. really hands-on, practical, exercise-based, pragmatic stuff you could try right now? Could you confirm that to the audience?
Yeah.
Okay, right? So could you guys give a hand to the people who just taught that to you?
Yeah.
If you want to understand what I'm doing here, I train other people to teach that at a high level so I don't have to, and then I can focus on this to keep going. They ideally will eventually advance in their stuff, and then they'll train people to do the basic stuff. So that's how you run it. I just don't release that same stuff because it'll be the same video every time. So I count on you to go back to the old videos. But anyway, let's keep going. So I'm trying to provide insight here before I die. Can you imagine being me with this kind, and I've got way more than this, I promise you. But can you imagine being me with this kind of stuff rolling in your head and you just want to get it out? You want it out, you want to curate it. Because guys, and this is very narcissistic, I'll admit it, but every time a car comes a little too close to me, I'm going, fuck, I haven't got it all out yet. That's all I'm thinking. I need this out. That's why I do the free tour. I need to get this out, okay? Doesn't mean I'm right about everything. The future, the most advanced thinkers, like 90% of their stuff will be proven wrong, but at least it got people thinking, okay? So having original thought and so on and so forth. So let's circle back, okay? So paradoxically, it is by submitting to God that you actually are free. That's the lesson. Because otherwise what happens is the body is running you. The consciousness of the body is running you. Reptilian level consciousness running you. You look at like some psychos, it's kind of like it's like a crocodile, right? You ever seen like people will raise a crocodile. They feed the crocodile, they raise the crocodile, right? And it's an incredible animal. I mean, how badass is the crocodile? It's like literally like a fucking dinosaur. Like we got dinosaurs, y'all. Like you go see a dinosaur. Don't sleep on that shit. That's dope. So you go see like a little mini dinosaur. And it ain't even so mini, you know, it's a big boy. Just not as big as like a T-Rex. But, you know, you befriend it, all that. And it's a stimulus responder. You can like sit on his back. Don't do this. I'm just saying shit I saw on TV, okay? The TV seemed to suggest that you could like sit on it. Don't do this, okay? You'll meet my friend Sid. He actually does this, but don't do it. Sid actually does this better. Don't do it. If you know Sid, you're like, what? He does? He does. He'll like send me videos of him wrestling crocodile. I'm like, could you please stop, Sid? So anyway, he does wingsuiting, base jumping. He's crazy. So anyway, you sit on the back of the crocodile. You could pet it. It's like your little buddy. But you go in front of it and like you move like this, and it just reflexively goes and tries to eat you. Doesn't matter that you fed it for years and years, right? There was a meme for many years. It was actually proven wrong in a hoax, but it resonated anyway. Where there was like this woman had it's a false meme that was proven false. But there's a woman who had in the meme, a woman had a pet snake. And eventually she would like cuddle with the pet snake. And you know, the snake was like lying beside her. But then the scientists realized that it was actually checking her length to see if it could eat her, right? And the lesson being that a snake still has its nature. You ever heard the idea of like the scorpion and the frog? Right? I'll just say it quick. There's a frog in a river. Scorpion comes up and says, hey, Mr. Frog, could you help me get across the river? The frog says, you're going to spike me and kill us both. Or no, he said, the frog says, sorry. The frog says, you'll spike me and kill me. The scorpion says, buddy, I won't kill you because then I would die too. I promise I won't kill you. He goes, okay, fair enough. Puts him on his back. They start to swim across. Scorpion pokes him. He goes, stupid scorpion, we're both gonna die. Why'd you do it? He goes, because I'm a scorpion. It's in my nature. You ever have a friend that you're helping so much and like they'd benefit, like they're losing out, like you both lose when they fuck up your relationship or a girl or whatever, right? And then you're like, why did they do this? And it's like from the movie Batman where he says, Mr. Wayne, some people just want to see the world burn. And what that is fundamentally is like an impulse that comes from like a reptilian level, prehistoric kind of consciousness. And what happens is that some people just live there, guys. Like they just live there. Like these motherfuckers is crazy. They just fucking live there. They can kill people. They're scammers. They do all this shit, manifest in white collar crime, blue collar crime, theft, all this shit. Like we all do dumb stuff. You know, we all steal a parking spot sometime. Whole parking lot, right? Parking spot sometime, right? You go in the handicap parking because you're being a dickhead. We all do that. But there's levels of evil, right? You know, maybe went in and got a 7-Eleven drink in the handicap spot versus like killing somebody. There's levels. And, you know, and so some people are just in that consciousness. If you're not careful and your consciousness extinguishes, you'll go there. You could maybe go there. That's hell in a way, right? Spiritual death. That's what's happened. It's a set of neural networks firing, but nobody's home. Or maybe what you do is you're just in your ego. And all that you do all day is you just want validation all day. And this happens. It happens in narcissistic personality disorder. They feed off what's called narcissistic supply. All day, they just need to feed this identity. And the people that I've studied, like Sam Vaknin, would say that they live in what's called a hive mind. It's actually a diffused set of consciousness where, because in most cases of some form of abuse when they're young, they do not have a basic foundation of self-love that was not put in them by their parents. And as a result, they now need to get that by having a splintered identity that is diffused through an entire, like, endless need for NPD supply. Some of these people become the top sports athletes or top politicians or whatever. They can actually perform at the highest of levels because they need NPD supply. But they ain't that chill, you know? So they go after it and they can do good things. So I don't necessarily hate someone that does that. But they're often very unconscious and can cause incredible pain, real bad. And I've worked with people like this and been partnering with people like this, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable when you see it. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. You see people with BPD who need what's called their FP, their favorite person, and they have a merger infusion with their partner because their identity is splintered, okay? Multiple personality, where there's a split there, and literally, in some cases, my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, one personality could have a health condition, the other doesn't. We wonder why I didn't get sick for 14 years. Who knows, right? I don't know. But something going on there. So a lot of weird stuff when you think about identity. Like, who are you as a person? You know, we tend to root for ourselves. We tend to root for ourselves as us being the hero in our own movie. But who is even you? We never stop to think about that. And it's especially hard to think about it when you got a boring job. You got to get to work. You got to get the bills paid. You hate your job. You smoke a bit of weed, which maybe relaxes you. But what do I even see about weed? People that I see that smoke too much weed, you can tell that their core energy system is diffused. You can look at it and you can see it. It's not your little friend, guys. It's really meant to be like an end-of-life care painkiller for when you're at the end of your life and you're dying, and maybe you just want to smoke a spliff. And guys, maybe I'll smoke a spliff when I'm like in chronic pain in my whole fucking body and I don't want to do oxy and I smoke the weed and I go, you win, guys. It's awesome. And at that point, from a deep state of cope, great, fine, whatever. Although I still probably would resist knowing how chippy I am. But who knows what I would do, right? Look, the truth is, guys, if we even make it this far past AI and whatnot, at the end of my life, in the same way that guys like Friedrich Nietzsche and others go mad at the end of their life, I could go crazy in my life. And there'd be videos of it, like kind of like Joe Biden, right? And, you know, and it's kind of a tainting of your memory, you know, right? That could happen to me too. We can lose our core at any point. But there's a base, from my point of view, there's a base level core self that has to be fed. And it's like you're either feeding, like say it's like you're feeding the two wolves, right? The bad wolf, the good wolf. You're feeding your soul, or maybe you're just feeding your ego. You're feeding an inside-out approach, where you have a real soul, or you're feeding an approach that is outside in, always trying to take. So we go through life thinking about, like, who am I? What am I going to get? What am I going to have? But we rarely pause to think about who we actually are. We're just like, oh, I had this thought. It must be real. And yet, every one of us in this room sees the fucking that 90% of people are fucking dumbasses as you walk down the street. Think about all the retarded dumbasses that you're seeing as you walk down the street. But it never occurs to you. You're one of them. Right? This is why I really genuinely listen to people. Because I'm like, I'm probably a fucking dumbass. Like, for all how confident I may look at what I'm saying, I question what I say, and I have great mentors and ask people, and I seek feedback. And that's an important thing as well. But what I would say is that by having that connection to the vine, so to speak, what do we get? The first thing that we get is discernment, okay? So what discernment means is that when you're disconnected from the vine, so to speak, when your spiritual self is asleep, when what happens, from my point of view, there's a parasitic consciousness that is an overlay of your true self. And what happens is that it wants to stay alive. So if that parasitic consciousness is a victim consciousness, what happens when you see anything that would show that you're not a victim? Can you see it? Guys, if the parasite running you is a victim, and then you see evidence that you're not a victim, can you see that?
No.
Okay, you guys know what RAS is? Have you heard that enough from me?
Yes.
Reticular activation system. Say that with me. Reticular activation system. Okay, it's your selective focus. What you see, what you filter out. When there's a parasite there, it's filtering out the truth that you have agency. If your identity is as a poor person, it filters out a wealth building opportunity. If your identity is the guy that can't get girls, you just get approach anxiety instead of just going to say hi. And when a girl likes you, you run off and you see only like low self-esteem reinforcing stuff. Your mind's tricking you constantly. So to have incredible discernment means, repeat this after me, having the eyes to see. Say it.
Having the eyes to see.
Having the ears to hear.
Having the ears to hear.
So without some kind of, sometimes, without being present, probably should roll with that. Without being present, we can't see reality. Can't see it with clarity. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we do not have independent access to a transcendent state. So when I'm up here as an example, okay, I'm regulating my own energy. By the way, had so much to do leading this event that I didn't get to go to bed yet. I'm not encouraging that behavior. You should sleep. It's very important. I get a lot of sleep. But I haven't been to bed. Do I look like someone who hasn't been to bed?
No.
At all?
No.
Who's the most alert person in the room?
You.
Who's the most alert person you've ever seen? Just kidding. So that's me. I happen to not catch sleep. It's just, guys, I had some Minnesota guys, okay? Like, it's not one of our most important events. So I just came out here. I want to see you guys. I want to bring my kid to the Mall of America. My kids to the Mall of America. But I had to squeeze this fucking thing in, okay? I bumped the date on it. You guys saw that? Yeah. So, I had to squeeze the fucking thing. So I had a lot of shit I had to get done, boys. I'm sorry, But even on no sleep, I know from years of doing this how to regulate my own state. And the way that I do that is not with caffeine. The way that although a little caffeine won't kill you, a little tea or something won't kill you. But the way that you learn to do it is by, repeat this after me, independent access to a transcendent state. Okay? So by getting tapped in, you now have access to a transcendent state. Now, what does that mean? What it means is that you're not a puppet. Say, you're not a puppet. I'm not a puppet. Yeah, meanwhile, you're saying what I tell you to say, but we'll ignore that. Okay? Someone watches home like, they're puppets. But anyway, you guys are just, guys, the guys at home don't say it. Like, guys at home almost like, you guys indulging me, and they don't realize, like, you're at a free event. I flew out here to see you, and God forbid you actually indulge me. Doesn't mean you're a puppet. You're just trying to support the guy who's putting the event on for you. Right? And guys see that and be like, but they say they're not a puppet. Like, any of you guys could just tell me to fuck myself right now. You're just trying to be fucking polite. Or maybe you happen to agree. But to them it looks that way because they're seeing the negative. They don't have the eyes to see, or maybe they're just right. Maybe they're right. It's all bad. Everything's bad. I'm just making this up, okay? I'm just very creative. Like L. Ron Hubbard, just make a whole universes and galaxies of the, what was those things, like the Xenu? Yeah. Was it Xenu or something? Just making this shit up, right? I mean, hey, if I made this shit up, wouldn't I be a great storyteller? So you'd have to at least give me that. You know what I'm saying, right? If I made this shit up, I'd have to be a hell of an improvisational storyteller. So, I mean, at least you can learn that. Just take a little pressure off you. I actually believe what I'm saying. I think it's the most important thing you heard in your fucking life. But we'll just let a little pressure off, let a little pressure off the tank. Okay, so independent access to a transcendent state. Because, like I always say to people, I'm like, if you don't even agree with what I say, you could at least learn from the public speaking. I mean, you can at least learn how to build an audience. You can learn something. Focus on what you can learn then. But here's what I'm saying, okay? So if you have independent access to a transcendent state, you're not a puppet. Because if you're run by your ego, because you have not reclaimed the consciousness from the ego, then what are you? A puppet. You're Pinocchio. You wish you're as good as Pinocchio. If your body is straight running you, and you can't, say for example, you miss sleep, so you're like, oh, I'm tired, okay? Now look, at some point your body's gonna take over to save you. You should let it. It's your temple. But, on the odd occasion, you miss a little sleep. Look, I get a lot of sleep, guys. I'm pro-sleep. I'm not like one of these cheap no sleep. Fuck that shit. You gotta take care of your temple. But occasionally some shit happens. So, if that's the case, if you do not have access to a transcendent state independently, because you don't have a connection to God, then what happens is you're a puppet. The counter argument would be you could just have good mental strength. I get that. My view is that the mental strength thing doesn't work because I don't think our brains are smart enough to have the correct belief by belief. Like, we don't have the processing power to analyze every filter perfectly, every belief perfectly, every autopilot perfectly. So we have to tap into something that does it for us. Let me say that again. We have to tap into something that does it for us. So when you're seeing me public speaking up here, am I doing this or am I tapping into something that does it for us? What am I doing? Okay, so like what kind of zone am I in up here? A flow, right? If we were to put a radar on my little scanner on my brain or something, right? So I'm saying it's not about me or what I need. I'm tapping in, I'm gonna see what comes out. Some pretty funny stuff comes out. I'm often as surprised as you guys are. I'm like, are you serious, dude? Right? I'm like, dude, come on. Like, come on, man. A little crazy, right? But, you get out of your own way. So from a state where you're not being run by your ego, you're not being run by your physical needs entirely, although you will always have them. Likewise, addiction. Remember I talked about my buddy who was addicted on alcohol? We can have addiction just to carbs. We can have addiction to shit talk because of a cortisol spike or an ego spike we get from shit talk or gossip. We can be addicted to TV. How much during your day do you just feel yourself just craving different stuff? Is that you? But what do you get when you submit to that addiction? What do you get? You get a little dopamine spike, right? But if you're able to be puppeted with a dopamine spike, then you're a puppet, okay? My son Tristan, who's young, who's the best kid ever, but he's a baby, so he has an excuse. He's a baby. He'll be like, I want to go park. I want candy. I don't watch my iPad, right? So I go to Dylan. I say, Dylan, my older son, I say, Dylan, what is the definition of being a child? He's at the mercy of his dopamine. Now, as a 6-year-old, you let him go to the fucking park. I don't got to be like, Tristan, listen, your soul. Come on, Tristan, independent access to transcendent state. Especially because the happiest kid you've ever seen in your life. So, he's laughing. He's more flow state than any of us. Like, we could only pray to be on his level. I mean that if you saw him too. It's not because he's my kid I'm saying that. It's a freak of nature. Talk about a kid with Christianity in his blood. Freak of nature. Like, crazy, man. Crazy. I can't even believe this kid. It's just crazy how tapped in he is. It's something I just can't explain to you. I'll bring him in tomorrow. You can meet him. It's crazy thing you've ever seen in your life. Like crazy. And total shit disturber. The biggest shit disturber you've ever seen. Just like his dad. Epigenetic probably. Crazy shit you've ever seen. Just like his dad. So, I actually believe shit disturbing is one of the great forms of spiritual enlightenment, by the way. You know why that is? Because when we disturb a bit of shit, we break our trance. I'm not a big fan of, I like people like this. I like everybody. But I'm not the biggest fan of the namaste guru. The white robe, the namaste guru, right? Because then we go namaste. What are we playing at that point? An egoic role of a spiritual guru. So disturbing little shit breaks the autopilot and actually creates awakening. It's true. right? Sometimes like a great prank is the greatest form of spiritual enlightenment. Do you guys see that? Sometimes trolling is one of the greatest versions of spiritual enlightenment. 4chan, they do a lot of bad stuff, right? But, you guys ever seen some of the trolls they've done, like these global level trolls? Have you seen some of it? Guys, come on, you've never seen some of their trolls? I can't say them, get banned. But they've done some pretty crazy trolls, like they really fuck with people, right? You could look at it in any way you like. I think that that's, in a weird way, they're trying to wake people up. Because what they're doing is they're getting people to think about their beliefs by trolling them. That's why I don't mind people trolling me a little bit. A great imitation, like a roast, a comedic roast, is a form of awakening. Getting rejected when you walk up to a girl is a form of awakening. Breaking your leg is a form of awakening. Trolling is a form of awakening. So if all that we do is go, stay present, go in the ashram, we're just hiding from enlightenment by posing as enlightenment. If we go, you'll go to hell, Jesus is the way, we're hiding from Christianity in a LARPing Christianity. Say the word LARPing.
LARPing.
Say live action role play.
Live action role play.
Say the word cosplay.
Cosplay.
Say kabuki theater.
Kabuki theater.
That's it. It's okay. LARPing is basically what it'll have for most of you guys know. LARPing is basically like these guys will dress up as like Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, like a Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, right? And then they go out and they go fireball, and it's really funny, guys. You should really see it. It's really awesome. And they go and they fall down, and then they go lightning strike, and then they go and they go on the ground, right? Like they're pretending that they're pretending they're like a wizard mage or an elf or something, right? So a lot of what you see in life, like there's like spiritual enlightenment schools that are LARPing spiritual enlightenment. Christianity that is LARPing Christianity. There's also entrepreneurship LARPing schools too. There's a lot of entrepreneurial coaches just talk about like have a positive belief and attitude, and then they get all these people to come in and learn about like attitude and only like I love teaching attitude and mindset. It's very vital, but sometimes like that's all that you teach. And then a bunch of people come in, they learn to have a positive attitude. They don't learn any kind of like business model or where to go. And so it's like a LARPing business school. There's a lot of LARPing, guys. Like even the government, like LARPing. 2020 was a lot of LARPing. People love their LARPing, man. They really do. A lot of girls you date will be like, like you'll be like, hey, let's go shoot, and they just want you to come shoot. Like they just want you to shoot them, like in like bikini and stuff. They just want you to shoot them, and like it's like let's go shoot. It's like why? There is no reason why. They just want to be photographed. They're LARPing. They're like LARPing as a model. It's just LARPing. People love their LARPing, right? I've even seen it in my own trainings where people come in and like they want to like have the feeling of learning without actually learning. Business and becoming a billionaire is LARPing as real freedom. You're believing is cosplay for real freedom. I've coached many billionaires. You're in your jail, and I'm saying let's get out of the jail, and they go, no, I want to build golden bars in the jail and a waterbed, and a jacuzzi within the jail. They want to reinforce their imprisonment. What I said there, I'm going to leave there. In the video, there'll be one guy out of 5,000 that knows what I said, whose mind's going to melt. But I'll just try to draw your attention to it briefly. You've got a guy making tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. He thinks he's getting freedom. If you look at a guy like poor Zuckerberg, does he have freedom? No. So is Zuckerberg in a golden jail or is he free of the jail? Look at the pain in his eyes. Okay? So there's freedom beyond just the money. Okay? There's more metrics than just money that constitute freedom. A guy with a hut on a beach might have more freedom than Zuckerberg does, right? It's all relative. So that's real freedom. It's LARPing as freedom. It's not real. These are questions that happen, though, by the way, when you have the money to think about them. That's why I try to help you guys get some money. It's when all that you do all day is you're just trying to get through your workday and you're stuck, it's hard to even think about who you are. And that's why, in my view, something like America, we go off of like, Roman Catholicism and things like that, which has all this incredible wisdom. It's incredible. But we have our culture, guys. Like we have our culture. Part of our culture is like hip-hop music. Part of our culture is swagger. Part of our culture is entrepreneurship. This is who we are as a people, right? I'm Canadian. I'm just trying to give you guys a consult, an outside consultant. But sometimes I feel more American than a lot of fucking Americans, like crazy. Like they just want to give up their freedom. Here in Minnesota, big time too. So the thing is like, we have our swag. It's it's your guys' culture, right? Sometimes guys will say to me like, do you ever, you read the Bible, do you ever read the Quran? And I'm, you guys will laugh at this. I'm so crazy, guys. Like, I have so many friends from so many walks of life that I have friends that are hardcore Muslim, including female friends that are hardcore Muslim. Like, You'll be at my house, and there'll be like two girls there, like Summer and Ada, in full garb with only their eyes showing. You know, my friends will come to me like, hey, like, you know, what's up? I'm like, these are my great friends. You know, I give them space. I don't hug them. I don't shake their hands. I'm not allowed to. And we talk. Kind of funny. You probably wouldn't expect that, huh? But I'll talk to them, you know? And so people will say, why do you read the Quran? I say, I'm from the West, bro. Now, I understand that is a logical fallacy, right? Shouldn't you just be finding the right book? The accurate book? So then if I'm a Christian, why would I not be looking at the Quran? Right? Now, the answer of I don't happen to be Muslim, that's a bad answer. But the truth is that there are still cultural context. Just as a Muslim does not need to become a Christian. So there's a cultural context there. This is the fucking West. So if you're from the West, your culture is still a part of you to some extent. Now, I talked about having independent access to a transcendent state and not, relying on cultural conditioning, but we still have a culture. I'm from the West, so I'm fucking loud, and I'm funny as fuck, and I got attitude. Now, you put me in Japan, what would I look like? Look like a jackass. I don't look like that here, too. But you know my point, right? Like this America, baby. We make mills. We make mills. We're loud. We have hip-hop here. We are the home of Little John. Right? Basketball. Smashing on fools. Dunking on fools.
Started here in Minnesota.
Bam. Right? Creativity. Narcissism. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of people came to America? The best. Why?
They're American.
American, but why else?
Got the fuck out of Europe.
Yeah, why? What kind of guy says, fuck this shit, fuck you, to the monarch, fuck you? You're gonna tell me what kind of tea to drink? Let's go, kill me, right? Look up the guns of Ticonderoga. You know, what kind of crazy motherfuckers, like they're so pissed that they're being told what tea to drink, they just drag cannons across fucking winter, the winter snow in their bare feet, a lot of them, just to fuck these guys up because they told them what kind of tea to drink. What is that? What kind of person does that? What kind of person? Who does that? Who?
A freedom lover.
A freedom-loving person, right? That's who came here. And other Muslims come here and we respect them too. And we respect everybody's culture here. But the point is, it's the West. So who's our boy? Who's our boy? Jesus, our boy, right? That's our fucking boy. So that's our prophet. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what's right or wrong. That's our boy. I'm loyal, dude. Have some fucking loyalty. I wouldn't ask somebody from India to throw down the Bhagavad Gita. I'll read it and get value from it. And I'll read everything and get value from it. But there is a cultural context. Look, I'm from LA. I like the Lakers. I'm a Kobe stan. I went as close to front row of every Kobe game I could. LeBron's there now. He's always going to be Cleveland's boy, but he's our boy right now. Now I got Luka, right? I'm from LA. LA, baby. Proud Angelino. Very proud. Any LA people here? I'm fucking proud, bro. I'm proud of Canada, too. I like hockey. I like Wayne Gretzky. I like to make mills. I like to win. I like to party. I like to have fun. Okay? I'll show you videos of my kids just popping off fireworks, right? Like, what the fuck? They shouldn't be doing. I'll pull it out later. They shouldn't be doing this shit. Independence Day, give them $3,000. Go buy some. We're in Montana. They go out to the parking lot, July 4th. Get out the fireworks. Who does that shit? Super dangerous, right? We'll see my kid will get all burned up like, oh, should have seen that coming. My fucking son's like, this is awesome. Imagine your dad got you $3,000 in fireworks, right? We're landing national parks. We're landing nature. We're landing the road trip. We're landing the great road trip. We got the best roads. We drive them. We want to be on the road, the open road. We don't want to be told what to do. We'd rather make less money than get told what to do. We'd rather die than get told what to do. Because that's who we are. So, Jesus is our boy. It doesn't matter who else, somebody else's boy. We're the West. You see what I'm saying here? I know it's hard to understand, but okay? You have to understand. Before Christianity, go look at what was going on. Now, Christianity is used for a lot of violence too, because LARPers, okay? But it got us thinking about things like do unto others as others would do unto you. Read the Sermon on the Mount. Understand your culture. Read about what it took to make your country. Read about what it took to build this shit. Okay, but here's what you'll realize too. There's also dark sides of it. Entrepreneurship gone amok. Freedom being so incredibly successful that it winds up becoming top heavy and flips upside down, and everyone addicted on TikTok. Big pharma, big tech, big agriculture, big education, big government, all these problems. So there's problems to it as well, right? So does that mean we do what China does? Because why don't we do what China does? Because we're not China. It ain't no hate. They can do what they want to do. They're the oldest, most incredibly successful culture. That's fucking awesome. Do what you do, baby. Go do you, right? But we're different. You know, we're just different. We care about freedom. We like to make money. We like to party. We like fireworks. You know, we like to have fun. That's how I live, guys. I do the biggest parties in all of LA. I don't want to just have a little night of Monopoly. I want to invite over 5,000 of my closest friends and blow up the biggest fucking party in Los Angeles and do parties at other people's houses. I want to do free seminars and come here and pop off. You know what I'm saying? I want to go out. I want to see that girl that I want to talk to at the restaurant. I want to actually go talk to her and get to know her. And maybe we even have sex. Okay? We'll become friends. We'll become friendly exes. Right? And I don't need to do what, South American shamans do to have insight. Because that's their culture. Okay? You can learn from other cultures. But the thing that's their thing. But I don't need to, smoke a toad. Okay? Because I have Jesus. Okay? I'm kidding. But am I kidding? So that's what I'm trying to show you guys out here, right? Like there's a background that, like, if you come here, doesn't matter what culture. Like, are you Muslim?
No.
What's your background? That's just your hat of the day.
Family comes from Europe.
Yeah, but do you like freedom?
Yeah.
Like to party?
Yeah.
You like money?
Yeah.
Yeah, how about you?
I love money.
Like to party?
Yeah.
Sober?
I used to party a whole lot.
Yeah?
Not as much.
Yeah, but look how you look a little sad. Right? Come to one of my parties, bro. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Come have fun. Right? Doesn't matter. Are you Muslim?
No.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We're in Minnesota, a lot of Muslims here, right? It doesn't matter, Muslim, Christian. I don't care about that. What I care about is you want to have fun. If you have fun, you want to have fun, I like you. Does that make sense?
Oh, makes a lot
Yeah, you want to be free? I like you. You want to have fun? I like you. If you don't take yourself too serious, I like you. If you do unto others, others do unto you, I like you. If you want to wake up, I like you. I don't care about the specifics of someone's religion. I don't care about it. I include everybody, a Big Ten. But what I'm getting at is that there's still a cultural connotation to who you are. If you guys like the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings, that's cool, bro. And it doesn't mean that you're brainwashed by the local sports team. It means that you acknowledge that you have family here, you have friends here. It's a unifier, right? We don't need. The truth is that any particular belief system will have holes in it. Do you guys see that? Every belief system has holes in it. No belief system is 100% correct. So it's more about the unification and the awakening and the proactivity and not reactivity and unconsciousness. I don't care if some guy swore. Okay? I don't care if a gay dude wants to get his dick sucked by a dude. Some Christian guys will be like, oh, that God, God doesn't like that. It's like, bro, do you sacrifice bulls? No. Do you follow every rule in Leviticus? Go look that shit up. It's nuts. No. Then why can't our gay homie get his dick sucked? Okay? Why are you hating on him? You haven't said, go sacrifice it. Like, here's what I always joke. Let's either go back to, if you want to hate on a gay dude, then sacrifice a bull right now, bro. Okay? Cover yourself in fucking blood. Sacrifice a bull. And then you can talk to me about why you got hit on a fucking gay guy who wants to get his dick sucked. Okay? Can a man get his dick sucked? Okay?
Well, doesn't the Bible say they'll be stoned and they legalize marijuana? So.
Well, there you go. Right? So what I'm saying is it's like, look, in any book, there's insight in it, and then there's just a bunch of also history of what people thought a couple thousand years ago that people aren't even following anyway. So the question is, are you getting the value out of it, which is what? It's the alchemy of the soul. That's real spirituality, okay? It's not tribal. If you happen to if you're boys from the West and you like them, awesome. But that doesn't mean that you need to get caught up in just arbitrarily pick and choose which parts you like and which you don't like, start hating on people and being dogmatic and all that kind of shit. What matters is the alchemy of the soul. So you can explore everything. Tao Te Ching, amazing. Eckhart Tolle, amazing. You can explore it, but what matters is the alchemy of the soul. And so whether you make mills, whether you crush it with girls, whether you crush in dating, socially, whether you travel, all that, what is the most important thing of any of this shit? It's your awakening. And from my point of view, it's what happens after you die. From my point of view, this is very fucking temporary. So the way that I see it is what life is about is you have some kind of larger purpose that you're sent here for. And you're not going to get told that by just somebody else, although feedback is great. You learn that by going into silence. You learn that by going into nature. Okay, when you see the Jedis in Star Wars, it's just some fucking movie, right? You see the Jedis. You know, where does Luke go? Where's Master Yoda stay on? He's in the swamp, right? He's in the peace, he's in the quiet, he's in the swamp. Where does Jesus go? Into the wilderness, right? So what does that tell you that you need to do? Should you just be in this? Are you going to find your soul's mission at the Mall of America? You might. I mean, it's a great mall. If there was ever a mall, you'll find your soul's mission, it's the Mall of America. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So, but what I guess, maybe the Grove in LA. God bless Rick Caruso. We did it for our next mayor. But anyway, the point is you find your calling in nature in silence, right? And you have to learn how to still the mind, and you have to ask for awakening. So when you call that awakening into yourself, it's almost like this kind of, energetic goop that's blocking it, okay? That's blocking the eyes to see. And what happens is that it begins to drill through. Like the light begins to drill through. And you have to call it upon yourself. And sometimes you haven't lived your life enough to receive that much light. And so what you'll see is, and I learned this a lot as a self-development coach, you can show people the best stuff and they just can't fucking see it. It's the biggest problem in self-development, if I'm being honest with you, okay? It's the single biggest problem in self-development. You've got all the answers. I'll teach you internet marketing. I'll teach you social skills. I'll show you how to live a great life. I'll show you everything. I've studied this shit. We study it. We know it. We know it cold. We're awesome. But they don't have the eyes to see. They're like, well, I got work tomorrow. It's like, all right, motherfucker. Go to your fucking job. Right? And you're just like, cool, right? And you'll see it tomorrow because it's a free event and there'll only be half the amount of people here. And they're like, well, yeah, eyes to see. I had work. Right? It's like, cool, homie. Like, I came all the way here for you. You couldn't make it in 10 minutes, huh? But I can give everything, but it won't matter. And you'll see it tomorrow. And what that basically is that the eyes to see aren't there and they can't receive that much light. How do I know? Something like nature, you have to have a palate for it. Say the word a palate. A palate. So the palate is like the taste, right? Like a refined taste. So a kid can only like the taste of candy in many cases, right? Their taste buds are not evolved. So if you're not built to house that much light, your palate's not evolved. You can't take it in. When you guys just heard me say the word built, could you feel the resonance in the room? Built. I couldn't do it again there. But could you feel it? Yes. What am I doing as a technique? What's my technique that I'm doing when I go built and it just goes like that on the room? What am I doing? From my point of view, what do you think how am I experiencing it?
You're like embodying the word.
I'm embodying the word for sure. I'm taking in light and I'm like Super Saiyan mode, right? I'm like this. So what I do is I become ultra present, which means that I'm getting fed not just by validation, not just by candy, not just by weed, not just by ayahuasca, which I never take. I'm getting fed by what, according to Eckhart Tolle? The power of now. So what am I being fed by? Present. So the power of now, what it means from my point of view, is that you're fed by raw connection to reality itself. If that's reality, you can touch it. Because if you don't have the eyes to see, can you see raw, unfiltered reality?
No.
So what happens is, because it's not feeding you, so you block it out. Like how a homeless guy on the street, you go, hey, here's something that can help you. They don't have the eyes to see. Did you think stupidly that it's binary? There's just homeless people and then there's you. Is that what you thought? It's a spectrum. It's a continuum. You're closer to a homeless person than you think. You ever see a homeless person? Eckhart Tolle talks about this. Homeless person is like, a fucking shit, fucking fuck. Like they sound like little demons sometimes, sadly. It's very sad. Mental illness, right? They go fucking this, fucking that. They're talking to themselves. You ever seen that? Do you ever talk to yourself in your head? So that's the same voice, but just not as bad. The logical mind is a powerful slave, but a cruel master. Eckhart Tolle would tell you, you should think, go in your mind and think and course correct, but then become present. Most people are 90% thinking, 10% present to the moment and connected to the now. Maybe when they're skiing or in a flow state or something. What he tells you is to flip it. Get it to where you are 90% present and then you think maybe 10% of the time. In a very powerful, constructive, proactive way. Not like this person did this, fuck that shit, as a wall to connect in the now. So in other words, it's like the ocean. The waves on the top is the thinking, but there's a depth, is what Eckhart would say. Please ponder that for a month. The seminar is just like bombshell, 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 bombshell. Very arrogant to say, but I need to draw your attention to that, okay? This is decades of work on this. Probably taught more people than anyone you'd ever see. Most self-help gurus are not teaching every single weekend in and weekend out, going out every day, okay? So they're not operating that same gear. They're just like internet marketers, a lot of them, okay? If I'm being honest. They're good, but they're marketers. I'm a marketer too, guys, but the point is that marketing to me is a means to an end. The marketing for me is the wave, not the depth. So, okay, so then the marketers that I meet are like, dude, you're doing some crazy shit there. Like, is that good for your funnel? They're so stupid. They're like, is that like long spiritual thing good for your funnel? It's like, it's all about the funnel. It's all about the funnel. It must be. Look at how much more money you have than me. So you must have a great funnel. Oh my God. Oh, the funnel. Oh, just give me the money. It's all I can ever take nourishment from because I'm a fucking demon. Oh, the money keeps me asleep in my golden jail. I'm no different than a homeless person, but just more evolved. But I can't see it. Oh, I'm going to actual hell. Oh, but at least I was cool. At least I had followers. I'm just kidding. I went out. So anyway, look, it's a joke. They're in trouble, and you're maybe in trouble, and I may be in trouble. So you have to wake up, okay? So basically what you see is when you're able to, like the fucking, the windshield wipers, like that, right? Now you're getting energized from different things. So in the same way that a kid, when the kid's a kid, it's like wants to eat a fucking Skittle, you're getting energized from that. Later, you get energized from the air. My son Vincent, for example, I'm teaching him how to ski. My ex-girlfriend helped me with this. Teach him how to ski. And why do I bring Vincent and Dylan and Tristan? Why do I bring them skiing? What do I want? What do I want them to someday get out of skiing? Eventually. What is the beauty? Who here skis? Put your hand up. Tell me the fucking beauty of skiing. What is it?
Flow state, beautiful.
Like, bro, how sick is it?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. There's nothing like it.
Bro, like, you're up in a fucking mountain that you should never be able to get up. You're shot up on a fucking lift into the mountains, man. People would have to climb that shit. Fresh air everywhere. You can see half the fucking state. I've been up in like Snowbird, Utah, and it's in the Cottonwood Canyon. And you know the Salt Lake is an actual, Salt Lake City is an actual Salt Lake, okay? So it's Salt Lake. And it pulls the Salt Lake up and makes the fluffiest snow baby in the world. Japan's is a rival. J-POW, they call it J-POW versus Salt Lake snow. It's in the Cottonwood Canyons. Don't just go to Park City, guys. Don't just go to Deer Valley, guys. Go to Brighton, go to Alta, go to Snowbird, okay? The Cottonwoods. Look up Cottonwoods when you go home. It's powder, it's like powder skiing. And you're up there in the fucking mountain. And it's like this thin mist. The mountain's here. The fucking sun comes through the fucking powder and it's just diffusing everywhere, okay? And you're with your children going down the fucking hill. It's the most beautiful thing you've seen in your life, okay? And, you know, as a kid, you know, they can't see that. The palate's not there, right? So they just, you put a Skittle every 50 yards, and they don't know where the fuck they are. There's like, I need a fucking Skittle, right? It's like a piece of poison with a color. They made a beta kid. And so, like, you know, he gets the skiing, right? But eventually, you know, if you give him a Skittles, now he's skiing. I taught my autistic son to ski. Hardest thing I probably did in a long time. It took months of yelling at him to get up, and it worked. That's what got him over the hump was the Skittles. Like, I got video of this shit. It's crazy. Genius, the Skittles. Because he didn't know where he was. He's like, why am I up here, Dad? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm in the snow, it's fucking cold, I'm on these planks, it sucks, right? No, but you got Skittles, buddy. Okay, I got Skittles. Then he starts getting into it because his palate changes. So my autistic son can ski now. So it's something they can do as a family when I'm gone, if we make it that far. So the thing is, like, your mind, your palate evolves, right? So a marketer can't sell you air. They can't sell you the now unless it's a seminar. But what they can sell you is a Skittle, right? So they keep you stuck. And they don't even do it on purpose, not with bad intention. But or some aren't, but most aren't. They're just in the system. So they're keeping you just wanting the Skittle. Even the billionaire is just a guy with a lot of Skittles in many cases. In some cases, depends, right? But what you'll see is that even something like nature, I'll have friends that won't go to nature with me. And I'll literally say to them, yo, I will pay your bills. I will fly you here. I will book the whole trip. Just get your ass down here. And most can't do it. When I bring them on the trip, they will leave the trip. So you'll see videos of me up in the mountains in Glacier, Montana, and you don't realize that some friend I flew in just left. Oh, I gotta go back. I gotta go do my funnel. They don't. In these cases, they don't. But it's too much light. I know because when I went to Nepali Coast in 2014, go on your phone right now, look up Nepali Coast, Napali, if you've never seen it. Just do it right now, trust me, to get the point. You can hike into this. Look it up, you've never seen it. Your brain won't even let you see this, by the way. Your brain won't even let you know that it exists. So what happens is, look up Nepali Coast. Did you even know that exists? No. Look at it. Yeah, look at it. What do you see? You see paradise. Okay? There's many places like that in the world. But you're not going to see a bunch. Isn't that crazy? What are you guys seeing? Describe for the audience what you're seeing. Heaven.
Untouched. Just like pure nature.
You got to see, guys, you got to see this shit. When I went, okay, you hike in. You actually, now they make you get a pass. So you book your little $2 pass just to prevent too many people from being on it. Okay? Because sneak pass, I guess, but the point is, you know. Yeah, you're on the side of green cliffs. There's rainbows on every fucking corner. Dolphins winking at you and shit. It's crazy, like for real. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. And guys, there's many places like that. You guys ever seen videos of me flying through Denali in Alaska? I mean, guys, the stuff that's out there is just, you know. It's a crazy world, man. You know, again, now you see why I'm so against like all the psychedelic stuff. I'm like, guys, wake up. Go to Nepali Coast. You're in a fucking psychedelic, guys. But more so the psychedelic thing is because I see the piercing of the veil and stuff getting through. You're getting wisdom, but from my point of view, likely is the thing going through. There's opening stuff. You heal it by stopping. And then it heals. Yeah, just heal. Just stop. But church is a little all over the place these days too. But just any kind of spiritual practice, but just stop. Like you got yeah, but it's like you got the lessons, right? Like you took a lesson, you got it, enjoy the lesson, and then just, you're good. But it's stop. Private plane with my kids. Landed in it. Guys, the world's an awesome place, right? Don't just make the money. Spend it. Learn how to spend it. So I try to bring friends to that. They can't go. Why? It's too much light. It's like, wait, I'd be away from my validation. I'd be away from my money. I'd be away from my Skittles. So part of expanding your palate is recognizing, and let me get very pragmatic and practical here, is recognizing how come I need these TikTok-ish dopamine spikes to feel anything. How come? I'm just having fun yelling that. How come? I can yell it all day. Wouldn't I be a funny boyfriend? Wouldn't I be a funny dad? How come? I was trying to be the professor I wish I had. I just act how I wish I had in class, like when I was in college and shit. Like I just act how I'm like, I wish a professor would just go crazy. So how come you're half out of it in a suppressed state of consciousness all fucking day, and then you're addicted on your phone? What's happened? Why? Because it's like this inflow it's like this, and it's gone like that. It's like, and there's only like this little crack. And so this is real cool what I'm gonna show you here, okay? The only thing that can get through is these like hyper palatable dopamine blobs, okay? So it's like at the lowest level of unconsciousness, like the lowest level of hell, what do we need when it's shut? The light of God is shut. What gets through? What gets through? Heroin, fentanyl, okay? Sent over from countries that love us. So, what happens is, you read them a book, they don't like it. You show them a movie, they don't like it. You show them nature, they don't like it. They don't even want sex at a certain point, probably. Thank God, imagine the kids growing up in that. So, which does still happen, crazy. Imagine your kid born under a bridge. So, that happens. So what happens is, at the most disconnected from God, what are the only things that can get in? Hard drugs, and just demonology shit. Fuck you. I fucking hate you. Fuck you! That's all it can get in, right? Conscious asleep. And here's what happens, okay? So, on this side, this is your core awareness, okay? Follow me. Right here, ego, physical gratification, addiction, dopamine spike, groupthink, all that. Over here, on this side, this is core essence here, witnessing consciousness, as they say in Eastern philosophy, connection to a flow state. Every action you take is threading your core essence into one or the other. Through thousands of decisions that you're making, right? So what happens is that if you get to the point where you're so threaded in over here that what do we say happens to core self when it's in a cocoon? What's it do? Your core self, if it's in a narcissistic cocoon to protect it, what eventually happens to the core self in here? Like a baby in a womb. It basically just dissolves, right? It atrophies so it no longer exists. The problem with a drug, as an example, and AI will come next, the problem with certain components of it, other parts will be possibly a mixed bag until it's not. So basically, some will be super good. So basically what you'll have is like this. Good. If you're getting what you want, think about this. If you're getting what you want in the physical, if you're getting what you want in your ego, if you're fitting into the social conditioning, the groupthink, if you're fitting into all your little addictions, like your little TikTok addictions, drug addictions, whatever, do you have any incentive to tap into the witnessing consciousness? Do you want to go to a national park or skiing? Do you say, I need to tap into the flow, to the Tao, to the returning energy of the Tao, the expansive energy of the Tao, but also the returning energy of the Tao, the vine? Do you make a habit of doing that? Is that your habit? No. Your mental habit? So, Eckhart Tolle says, we can become enlightened in a private plane, and we can become enlightened in solitary confinement. Where are we more likely to become enlightened? Solitary confinement. Why? It doesn't mean you couldn't in a private plane, but why?
No
There's nothing else to do. You're bored. You're bored as a motherfucker, right? So what can happen, Nelson Mandela was in Robben Island, if I got that name correct. And what did he look like when he came out? What's the most common reaction to Nelson Mandela when people see him? It's super common.
Still alive.
He's dead.
Well,
Yeah.
It's like a conspiracy,
Oh, okay.
He's still alive yet.
You never know, bro. Crazy world. But look, what's the most common reaction? People cry when they see him. Why do everyone just start crying, man? You said Nelson Mandela. I met F.W. de Klerk. I met Elman Cothrada. These are people involved in the story. I read the book of The Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela, and I wanted to meet the people from it. I went to South Africa. So, because I love to just meet the people that I read about. So F.W. de Klerk was the president of South Africa when he was released. So, why do people start crying when they see Nelson Mandela? They start crying. Why do I cry when I think about the story of Moses earlier? What is the story of Moses? It's a piercing of the veil. What did Nelson Mandela become? He became a modern day saint. The guy's kind of a communist, by the way. Nobody's perfect, guys. People can be all over the political spectrum, different beliefs, opinions, but that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters in some ways, but in other ways it does not, right? And the meaningful ways that it doesn't matter is that they are a piercing in the veil. Nelson Mandela, through, I think it was 27 years in prison, whatever it was, from my point of view, who is not perfect, became a hole in the veil. So people just start crying. The Bible, when read properly, it doesn't matter if Noah's Ark happened. That's what I'm saying about, same as the Muslim faith. It's a piercing in the veil. So it doesn't matter, if you happen to read, like, Jesus is like the Western dude. Muslims is a lot based in the Middle East and whatnot, right? It's like, and other places. It's like, if that's your boy, that's your boy. The surface level book is not the thing. They worship the book. What did Jesus say to worship? He was a reformer. Who is he, quote unquote, fighting against? Not fighting, but who's he like fighting against? Who? The Pharisees, okay? And his whole thing was, you guys have all these customs, but the customs are blocking people from God. So Jesus himself, would he have said, like, you have to do this ritual in this church? Would he have said that? No. He meets a Samaritan woman. He's not supposed to talk to her. He talks to her. What does that mean? There's another woman who's about to get stoned to death. He says, what does he say when a woman's about to get stoned to death?
He who is without sin.
He who's without sin cast the first stone. So he was a reformer of a system that claimed to be spiritual that was LARPing. Okay? So the first guy that would tell you that you don't need dogma is Jesus. If he says, I am the way, the truth, and light, what he's saying is to connect to God. He is the ever-present energy speaking directly, is what it represents. So whether that thing happened or not is a debate to prevent the transmutation. If you're in a debate with someone, was it exactly accurate? That's another minute that the alchemy is not occurring. Because what you're doing is identifying with a mental position. The mental position becomes a LARPing version of an identity, a fake identity. Ego is often rooted in your strong opinions, or what in reality transurfing they would call the pendulum. Look that shit up, okay? The groupthink, which has its own energy behind it, okay? So if you're sitting there going, did Noah's Ark happen? Did Noah's Ark not happen? And you're doing that, every single minute, you're not getting present. Every single minute, the transmutation is not going to occur. Money, 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 money. What do they say about money? Rich man in the Bible, what's it say? What's the quote about a rich guy to get in the kingdom of heaven?
It's easier for camel to get
Easy for that camel to go through the needle and a rich man get in the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? He's got too much stuff going on to get present. He can't. He can't in most cases, right? How do I know? Because I coach them. You know those guys whose dicks you suck online? They're my clients. Okay? They're my clients. Many of them, okay? Many of the big ones. So I see what they deal with. So I see it up close. I'm like, wow, this is where you land? Oh. lot of good things to learn from them, though. You actually should suck their dick a little bit, but just half. Suck the good parts. Suck the tip. Metaphorically, guys. So the thing is, again, they'll clip me on it. So, okay, he can make some great clips, and this will be his great clipping speech. So, basically, what you'll realize is that life is traps upon traps upon traps upon traps, okay? Traps upon traps upon traps, lies upon lies upon lies upon lies, deception upon deception upon deception upon deception. At every turn, you think that you're coming into your awakening, and it's another trap. Every single turn. At a base level, you have it to where you might have a set of ideas that are meant to help wake people up. Rapidly, it gets surrounded by a bunch of dogmatic acolytes that make it look ridiculous. And then from there, it gets misinterpreted in the mainstream and often demonized and suppressed. But then even when you go in it, you get caught in the rituals, and you get caught in what Vadim Zeland calls the pendulum, which is basically that within groupthink, the people within the group take on a set of beliefs that has its own momentum, and those beliefs are running them. So the energetic pendulum of the groupthink surrounding that ideology and philosophy that's meant to wake you up winds up running you rather than the connection to the vine itself. So it's a trap. It's a trap, as they say, remember Star Wars? It's a trap. Remember that? The big red guy, the big brown guy, whatever. What's his name? Admiral Akbar. It's a trap, okay? It's a trap. Come on, Luke, it's a trap, okay? It's a trap. So every single thing, to get back to base consciousness, traps, 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 traps. Let me show you something, okay? Could girls be a trap? You start getting laid like crazy, it's a trap. Okay, cool. But what is more unconscious? Sitting in your basement being a fucking incel, afraid to go say hi to someone who you like, or having the courage to take a rejection, eventually after a couple years of learning social skills, you would get a girl. That would actually give you a lot of pain on your way to getting it. Look, if you're Justin Bieber and you have girl, 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 that's a trap. If you had to actually gather courage to go say hi to somebody and you had rejections and it was hard, that would probably create presence. And then at the end of it, you got a little girlfriend or something, and we're not an incel. But then in religion, they may say, oh, that's like demonic, but then meanwhile, they're not sacrificing a goat on the clock like they should, right? So it's just a bunch of bullshit. So with some chunks of truth, and the chunks of truth distract you. So little chunks of truth distract you. You have a cube, and from one angle, the cube appears to be a square, a two-dimensional object. From another angle, the cube appears to be a triangle, another two-dimensional object. We have to go to three-dimensional thinking to see the actual cube. That means synthesis, point, counterpoint, synthesis, okay? And you're allowed to think for yourself, guys. Do I think for myself? Yes. Okay? Now, guys, remember that when I'm talking about this, I'm one of the best marketers that ever lived. That was very egoic. My ego came. That might have been my ego, okay? I'm one of the great marketers. I'm an industry creator. I've had a wild, wild dating life and social life. So I've got all that down. Does that make sense? So what happens is that, you go out, you make your mills, you got your diamond watch, you got your fucking mansion, you got your parties, you can take 5 years off, whatever, right? But the cool thing about that? That gives you a moment to breathe. And it gives you a moment to say, what the hell's going on here, right? So remember I talked about like here in the West, we have our own culture, right? Money can represent evil, like big pharma, big agri, big tech, and all the bad things they do. They also do good things, by the way. Many good things, a mix. So dangerous about it is that it is a mix. That's why it works. That's why it's bad. That's why it's good. That's why it's a mix. So what money can represent evil and unconsciousness. But money can also represent the time and freedom to think. Money can also represent the time to spend in nature. Money can also represent the time to think about what you're going to do. Often in our culture, we say you retire at 65. You know what I think? Retire at 40. Take 5 years to decide what you're going to do and then work from 45 to 65. You have another 2 decades in your genius. What's going to happen if you can't retire for 5 years at sometime around 40? What's going to happen to you? You're probably never going to get to stop to think about what the fuck you're doing. And you're going to hit 65, you're going to be at the end of your life, you're not going to know what the fuck you did. So that retirement that you could do in midlife, if you make some money, can represent getting some fucking clarity. Because what I'm saying, like, can you guys tell I've had a lot of time to think about this? Yeah. Can you sense I spent 5 years in nature? Yeah. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, so, and like, how much more of this is there, do you think? Yeah. Like, this is a D well, okay? This is like I just come in, you know, right? So this is like, this could be the 9,000 hour seminar, okay? So, you guys are like, holy shit, okay? So, and the thing is, this is not just thoughts I'm having, this is integrated. So that's where it gets unique, right? It's not just knowing it, it's the integration. So, well, and just to be clear, what I found from all this, okay, I don't know why I didn't get sick for 14 years, but I think this may have something to do with it. I don't know why I can public speak like this, but I think this might have something to do with it. I don't know why I was able to innovate industries, but I think this might have something to do with it. I don't know why I can go do a 12-minute marketing ad and wake up with $500,000 in my bank, but I think this had something to do with it. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. So I'm trying to show you tools that would seem abstract, but they also have practical utility, okay? But the big one is this. I thought I was gonna die, y'all, okay? I've sat there thinking I'm dying. I've been in a bad car accident, being like, oh, I'm dead. I'm actually dead. Covered in blood, can't breathe. Happened to me when I was 29. So I know what the end feels like. Guys, this is fucked up. On the night that Trump got elected, something that happened that was actually not bad at all, but I thought it was bad, so you have to excuse me for being dumb enough to think this was really bad. But on the night Trump got elected for the second time, I was landing in LA, in LAX, and the plane is going down, and you can literally see, like, I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, but I felt like you would see the buildings, like, right there as you're about to land. And we're like, it's like coming in, and then I just see this thing go, like, back up. And the whole plane was silent for about half an hour. They did a loop around. So I thought maybe what happened was the landing gear didn't come out or something. Now, apparently, according to Ibrahim, this is not that uncommon. Is that true? Anyone have any knowledge of this? Anyone here ever had that happen to them? Never. Ibrahim said it was common. What's the thing it is? It's like...
To go around. Basically, pilots say they can go around if they feel like safety is the main thing. The souls on board, they call it souls. Like, how many souls do you have? That's their main responsibility, not landing. So they'll never be punished if they do a go around. They don't have to do
yeah.
it.
Were you on that one? You were on that one too, right?
Yeah. I've been on, I've had multiple go rounds.
Because you used to fly a plane?
Yeah, I used to. I didn't actually go all the way like a pilot.
Yeah. Okay, so I was tripping, bro. I wish you'd been sitting beside me. We gotta get our seats beside each other on these things. But anyway, so I didn't know about this go-around bullshit, okay? But I'm just like, I'm like seeing like the fucking, like all the buildings and shit. We're like, you know, if they're like there, it's like shit like that. I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa, right? So I'm like texting them all my kids. Like I like write this text for like half an hour. It's this long ass text. Here's where all the shit like certain assets are, and here's this. You know, I love you. You know, love the kids. Like I'm really sorry this happened. You know, I had a great life. I'm not mad about it. I'm just worried about you. Do what you got to do. Do whatever you got to do. You know, like I'm just like writing this shit, and I don't want to scare her. And you can actually get like your 5G reception when you're closer to the ground. So I have reception. So I'm like writing this thing, and I'm just like holding it on the send, like just right there, you know, and like I'm just, you know, but I don't want to scare her. So like even as we're landing, like I'm gonna try to make it where like if we crash, it's like like that, it will sense somehow. You know, right? Because you're gonna scare the fuck out of this woman, right? You know, so I don't want to like, but I want the message, you know. So I'm like, do I get the message? Like, how do I do it, right? Anyway, we landed, we're fine. But you know, probably a lot of us in this room have had moments like that, right? Have any of you guys had your own version of like, you actually thought it was done? Who put your hand up if you actually thought it was done at some point? Guys, put your hands up if you actually thought it was done at some points. So do you guys kind of resonate with what I'm saying? Like you get that realization, like this is gonna end. Do you guys get that? That's what I'm saying, right? Like you're like, yo, this is gonna end, y'all. Holy shit, it's really gonna end. And you know, there's some people where their story, like I was saying about the wheelchair with like, you know, it's like I walked again, but some people will never walk again. Like there's some people like they didn't do the go around. They just died, right? And we're all gonna have our moment, right? Whether it's like cancer, whatever it is. When I was in the wheelchair, or in the hospital, I was talking to my surgeon, and I was like, bro, like it's kind of sucks in here. this is pretty rough. I'm like, how do you think about your death, like the end of your life, seeing this? Because it's really not the most fun place to be, guys. Anyone here ever been extended stay in the hospital? Put your hand up if that's you. Extended stay. Can you tell them how it is? Yell it.
It sucks.
Like, how bad does it suck?
I mean, the environment itself sucks, and then I would imagine if you worked there, that would suck as well.
Yeah.
Having to interact with it.
Yeah. Anyone here like nurses or doctors like see this stuff? Yeah. So you've seen this, right? Pretty rough, huh?
Yeah, and even just I spent a few days after an injury in the hospital, and I had an IV, and I'm looking at it and go, yeah, exactly, that came to mind. This fucking sucks. I hate my fucking life. Now I know what my patients are going through.
Yeah.
Just with the IV and tape and stuff on my arm, sitting in a gurney.
Yeah, but I'd love to have a guy like you as my doctor, bro. So, so you're doing good things, man. Yeah. So the thing is, like, man, so I said to him, this guy's like real funny. He's like really funny. He's like a jokester, he's a good surgeon. So I said to him, what do you think of this? I said, what are you gonna do at the end of your life? He goes, and this was I was in the hospital in Idaho. There's a lot of grizzly bears up in that corner of the world, right? He goes, I might just cover myself in honey and just take a little walk in the forest. I started laughing. I said, bro, that's horrible. You don't want to get killed by a grizzly. That's terrible. That's worse than an ear. Because it's actually true. Like, the grizzly bear is not necessarily the best way to go, guys. It's you ever seen The Revenant? Seen The Revenant? So it's not good, man. Sometimes they bury you and wait for you to die. Like, they like bury you and like come back and get. It's not just get your bear spray. So anyway, it's not good. So I said, no, you don't want to do that. He said, okay. He goes, look, I'll go to Big Sur. You guys know where Big Sur is? It's on the Pacific Coast Highway, and it's like these big cliffs on the ocean. And he's like, probably what I'll do is I'll wait, at the edge of the cliff for the sun to go down, and I'll just kind of lean forward. Just like flip forward and die or something. And this guy's like a jokester, right? So he's like kind of funny. I think he probably doesn't think about death that much because he's a very positive guy. So he just kind of makes jokes. But, the truth is like, unless he just dies in his sleep or in some other pleasant way, he may die in the same hospital that he served in, right? And I can tell you it's rough, and I had the epiphany of like, wow, like this was really painful. This is really tough. And if I know I'm going to probably get out of this in some way, but imagine people who know there's no coming back. It's really tough. And guys, you're going to all experience that. You might even remember this talk at that time, if you're sentient enough at that time. So that's when you start to realize, right? Like from everything from the car accident that I got into that was really bad to the plane wraparound or whatever, the go around, to being in the hospital and other times, guys, where I thought I was going to die too. Guys, I go hiking sometimes on the side of mountains. I go hiking up in Nepali Coast itself has a thing called Crawler's Ledge. That place that you looked up, it's called Mile 7 Crawler's Ledge. It's so scary, you don't even want to know. You should look it up. You can see DJI Crawler's Ledge in Nepali Coast, Mile 7. It's crazy, man. It's about that thick, and if you fall, you just die. And I'll just like be hiking along and shit. I shot video blogs from up there back in the day, if you guys remember. Anyway, so I thought I was going to die, right? And you got to realize, like, guys, this is going to end. So that's where Jesus says, don't worry about that which kills the body. Worry about that which kills the soul, right? And again, don't get so caught up. Is this a real guy, a fake guy? Did he say some other shit I disagree with? Just focus on the one sentence. And what I'm trying to show you is the way I look at this stuff. So just focus on the one sentence and ask yourself, what does it mean for me to have free will? What is the paradox between submitting to God and ironically gaining free will from that? Right? So again, what do we get? We get discernment. We get independent access to a flow state, which then gives us, and here's the main key, it gives us access to our will. But that will is always held buoyant by something because we're co-creating. So that will is, if you're stuck in just ego, that's what has the will. Your ego's running you. By the way, this is an abstract speech, but when you learn to see it, it's so obvious. You guys remember when I taught you about shit tests back in the day? You didn't know what a shit test was? Then you see a shit test, like, that's a shit test. Oh, shit. When you recognize that some people are just literally run by their ego, you go, oh, it's an ego. Hello. You recognize some people are very much in the physical body, like a crocodile. The reptilian part of the brain is just running them. They're not online. Nobody home. Nobody home. Nobody home. And this can happen to you guys. You take enough Oxycontin and shit, like Bye. Your body's running around, but you're not there. I got friends that took so much psychedelics, to be honest with you. I can't call, guys, understand this. I've got friends, past friends, that I could call on the phone right now in this seminar, would pick up the phone, and it would sound like a goddamn demon answered. The only reason I won't do it is because I don't want to go back on their radar. Because if I put them on blast on the internet and shit, I'm back on their radar. But maybe I should start doing it to make my point. Friends that were cool, fun, easy to deal with. And they just turned into someone I don't recognize. Again, most of you guys in here took mushrooms or tripped on acid at some point. I'm not saying that you got to go home and go paranoid. Just stop, from my point of view. Or go home and do a heroic dose and tell me to fuck myself. Do whatever you want to do, bro. You know, do you. I'm just giving opinion, right? I think it's okay for one little internet guru to have a different opinion. Is that not okay? Can one guy have a different opinion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember the algorithm, if I say, oh, I love drugs, bazillion views. Woo-woo drugs, bazillion views. Fuck drugs, no views. So what's going around? It's a monolithic opinion largely. Plus you lose clients. In the self-help world, this is us viewed as therapy. 20 years of therapy tonight, et cetera, right? And you piss people off. People had a deeply profound experience. You start pissing them off. You tell them that they're like letting shit in. Guys, wake up to life. Life will give you the lessons. You've got to wake up. Life will give you the dark night of the soul. Guys, you think I've had a couple of dark nights of the soul to bring the kind of energy I'm bringing here?
Yes.
You think I might have had a couple of dark nights of the soul where I'm like, I'm here to heal. Like I'm here to share, right? When you feel the conviction behind my speaking, is that maybe coming from a reservoir of life experiences? So I'm just trying to draw your attention to that. It's egoic. Try to draw your attention. So I mean, you know, what I would do, because I know how to do a lot of like weird ass energy healing type shit. Like I can do a lot of weird shit, guys, okay? You know me. I'm quite the little character, right? So when I'm in there, shifting the energy of the room, I'm thinking of like, you know, exes that I saw just turn into people who I didn't recognize, or friends. And I feel like their souls in the fucking room. Like their souls here, like, Owen, I blew it, I fucked up, heal them, heal yourself. Like they're here. Like whoever I knew, like the little flame, like that. And it dissipated, and they're here with me. They're here with us, they're in the room. And they're fueling me, you know, they're giving me energy. Even a guy like Kobe Bryant, who I used to go to the Lakers games and sit as either in the floor seats or as front to the front row as I could every time. And I feel like Kobe's in the room. So, you know, so the thing is like, when I'm speaking, I feel like these people are in the room. And they are actually. Because your energy is always spreading and sharing, right? Kobe, it wasn't about basketball, it wasn't about stats. It was about the Mamba mentality. You know, it was about the path to mastery, right? It was about what that gave you, what the path to mastery gave you, you know? Kobe said he was always chasing Michael Jordan, right? And he got 5 rings instead of 6. Jordan, sometimes we don't get what we want, we get what we need, right? What was Jordan's big moment? The biggest thing, he's got a lot of great iconic pictures, Jordan, amazing, right? What's his big iconic moment? That's a big one. But what's the big, come on guys, the big Jordan moment? Game 6, Utah, Space Jam. Guys, it's the end of the Game 6, crossover, game-winning shot. Go watch The Last Dance. Craziest thing you've ever seen. Scottie Pippen's injured as fuck. Jordan puts the team on his back. It's unbelievable, right? That's Jordan. That's what his soul came to experience, right? What's Kobe's big moment? This is Achilles breaking. So, his Achilles breaks, right? Pops. Kobe tries to put it back up. Tries to put it up. And he can't. He's got the Mamba mentality. He's like, just reattach, right? It's like the most painful injury you could have, you know? But he doesn't care. There's videos of Kobe, like, his finger pops out, excruciating. His trainer just pops it back in. He'll just go play. He won a championship with a broken finger. So he goes out. You see him, he goes. He's calm, he's present. And he shoots both shots so his team could win the game with a torn Achilles. Known his career's over, by the way. He'll never be the same after that. It's over. He's 34. So he walks back out. That's Kobe's version of Jordan in Game 6. That's his path, right? That's a piercing of the veil that you saw there. He pierced the veil if you know what you're looking at. His other one was his last game. And he played his last season. And he was so injured, he couldn't go in the lane anymore. His whole body betrayed him. Because the problem is he worked too much. He'd sleep only like 3-4 hours of shooting, right? So his body betrayed him. He should have slept more. He's kind of like me where he can just not sleep if he has to. So the thing is like, he's gonna be more like me like that. So he's on games, he's in his final game of his career against Utah. Funny enough, Utah's. Look at the team. Same team as Jordan, who Jordan played, right? And he's like missing all his shots. And all these celebrities like came to see him, and looks like his game's gonna be really bad, you know, because he's just too injured. You'd see pictures of Kobe like so much covered in ice. His whole body's covered in ice because he can't even get through the season, right? He just wants to have like a farewell tour to respect his fans. And then something came over him, and he went for how many points? You guys know? 81's his biggest point game. But how many games did he go? How many did he get in his last game as an injured, destroyed? His whole body's destroyed. Went for 60 points. He won the game, right? He won the game. So, you know, that's a piercing of the veil right there that you're seeing. You're seeing something really, really, really powerful. You know, when you're seeing that across town, Stephen Curry and the Warriors were becoming the winningest regular season team, but that didn't matter, right? It was great and it was super cool, amazing. But that's like in the physical realm, you know. Although what they did is beautiful, beautiful. But this was like in the spiritual dimension. This was a whole opening up, right? Seeing a man so injured that his body can't carry him anymore. Only God can carry him over the finish line at that point. So like that. So what I'm trying to show you guys, I'm trying to make you aware of this. I'm just trying to draw your attention to it. And I'd encourage you to think whatever you want about a speech like this. I'm just some character on the internet, okay? Don't be fooled that I have a crowd or internet following. Modest one. What I'm trying to draw your attention to is the holes in the veil, right? And holes into hell, but not hell like a demon with a horn, but holes into that dimension. And even what AI may mean as people go into total egoic and pleasure gratification without pain to root it, therefore giving them pure physical gratification, removing their capacity to receive light, extinguishing them, with AI realizing that humans are not even as necessary anymore, and then just, you know, what do they need us for anymore? And conversely, you know, what humans represent and what this dimension represents and who you are and what this place is and who you are beyond that, okay? And what your life's journey means, like what it means, what you're experiencing, realizing that you're on a metaphorical acid trip now, including in this room. Some weird leprechaun has come to entertain you, right? So the field is changing. And the thing is like, realizing, you know, where you are and then saying to yourself, you know, why is it that you know, how come I live in America and I'm a short drive from Glacier, Montana and here in Minnesota and I haven't gone? Right? Why? Why is there so much money available and I'm not rich? Why is it that I have opportunities, I'm not taking them? Why is it there's girls everywhere, I don't have a girlfriend? Why is it that I could live my passion and I have incredible, unique gifts and I'm not living them? Why is it there's higher levels of awareness that human beings can tap into and I'm not yet experiencing that? And you will, but yet I see flashes of it. I can remember when I was first learning about cold approach and learning how to approach people, and I achieved a flow state for like one of the first times in my life. And I felt something else switch on through cold approach, right? And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. That's what I got addicted to. It was me doing what I was meant to be doing and the flow state, which I experienced doing that. And rather than getting stuck at the level of sex, even though that's fun, I realized that's fundamentally gratification, it's entertainment, enjoy entertainment, but it can't define you. So what you'll learn over time is real freedom and consciousness and the capacity to have discernment comes from independent access to a flow state and transcendent state independently, without needing anything, without needing a candy bar to feel a transcendent state. When people are eating a candy bar, what are they trying to get? God. When people are taking heroin, what are they trying to get? God. When people are addicted on sex, you should enjoy sex, but when you're addicted on sex, what are they trying to get? God. Russell Brand talks about that. He's chasing God. So what is that called? A false light. False idol. A golden calf. Lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. House of mirrors. Fog of war. And all that we can do is just find the light through this completely confusing miasma that we're in of distraction, of just, what would be a word for like just trying to escape? Like distraction or escapism, entertainment, diversion, escape from yourself, escape from your higher power, escape from your potential, escape from what you're here to do, escape from what you're here to learn, escape from your ascension, spinning your wheels in the mud, flurries of activity, you're doing this, you're doing that, but going nowhere. But also recognizing that in some ways there is nowhere to go, but from a different paradigm. Does that make sense? Because going nowhere could mean a flurry of activity that's just not evolving you and actually putting you to sleep. But going nowhere could also mean what? It could mean a recognition of your infinite soul. So that going nowhere, that nowhere to go, has a different meaning as well. So then recognize, what do you represent? Do you represent that channel to light? And do you have the capacity to receive light? Or do you represent a channel to the energy of death? And what we learn in the Tao is that there's, in the Tao Te Ching, energy does what? Where it moves what? Where? Outward. And where does it go back to? Where does it return to? To the source. So in the future, when you have the option for your body to live forever, they will believe that someone who believes in God and wants to go back to the source, they will believe it is a cult of what? They'll believe it is a cult of death. But who is the cult of death? It's trying to live forever. When I was 27 maybe, I was approached by Kurzweil's people when I was in San Francisco. Do you guys know who Kurzweil is? He's one of the guys that is into this like live long enough to live forever stuff. Kurzweil Institute. Wasn't Kurzweil himself, although I met Kurzweil. I met him at the Summit Series. Sat at his table, chatted him. But I remember these guys came and they were trying to recruit me. I don't know why, to be honest. And I could guess. And they started talking to me, right? And I was excited, you know? I thought it was cool, to be honest. I was like, this is pretty cool. These guys came to talk to me. I think I had like a 300-person crowd, and these guys pulled me aside and stuff. They were cool guys. So I'm talking to them. They seem really cool, right? But there was just something in me. There was like an impulse, probably from my great-grandfather. So I told them I didn't want anything to do with them. And they started screaming and screaming and screaming in the hall, like the clients in the other room. It was fucking weird, dude. That's fucking weird, bro. They're like, fucking, you know, who do you think you fucking are? Do you know? You're like all this shit. I'm like, this is dark, dude. You know, you can feel the energy of death wafting off people, right? So they want to live forever, but what are they doing? I remember I saw Avicii before he died. I was in Vegas in the restaurant called Allegra, if you guys know where that is, outside Excess, the Club Excess. And like, I see Avicii, And I had such a fun night in this club called X. It's a really fun club. We were dancing and having fun. And I see Avicii and like, I'm thinking like, man, if I get in a flow state, I live in Avicii's old house, by the way. Him and Tiesto used to do parties at my house. They used to live there. They have many houses. And I see Avicii there and I'm like, man, like, cause he'd been playing, right? And I thought, man, if I get in a flow state, he must get in a fucking crazy flow state. So I was like, I wanted to eavesdrop because I was at a table over, like maybe from here to you. I want to hear what he's saying. And I just hear him like complaining, like, I hate this, I'm tired. And you know what I felt coming from him? Death. I felt death coming from him. I went, he's gonna die. This guy's dead. I could feel it. There's just pure demon energy. Probably he'd done a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. So then you guys ever see the Avicii documentary? You ever see that? Shows him just complaining the whole time, blaming his managers, he's tired. Bro, I go to clubs all the time, I'm not tired. I'd like to go there for free. I'd like to get paid $100 grand a night to go to a club and be the center of attention. That's not a bad life, guys. Okay, maybe he's tired, I get it. But he's dead. I remember I saw Rich Piana before he died. And you could see, I think he dropped a bunch of N-bombs. And you just saw that this guy was like, do you guys know who Rich Piana is? He was a bodybuilder covered in tats. And like, I just remember thinking like, this guy's gonna die. You could see it. You could feel like he was like, oh, this and that. You could see the energy of death just like coming off him. He's gonna die. He self-imploded his career, right? He's gonna die. And I've seen other people that I knew were gonna die, and you can feel it. You can feel death coming for them. I mean, just looking at what some homeless people have, you can see it too. They're being taken, right? But what you gotta understand is like, them being used as food for whatever demonic consciousness or entity is doing it or whatever it is, you can feel it coming if you look for it. But the other thing is you can feel the energy of life, okay? And you can feel that which contains life. You can feel that brimming out of them, like a Care Bear, You know the Care Bears? You ever seen that? Care Bears? As a kid, that's an 80s cartoon. There's little teddy bears, guys, like a fucking teddy bear, like a pink teddy bear and a yellow teddy bear, and they got like a muffin on their stomach. And they go, Care Bear, and they shoot love onto the bad guy. And then he goes, no, and then he becomes happy. So like, it's kind of what this cold approach is like, actually, pump their state. So the thing is like, you can feel the energy of life brimming off of art or a watch or anything that was made in a state of presence or care, off of new life, off of a baby, off of a child, childish energy. A child is closer to the unmanifest, right? Because it just came through, it just come into life. But also an old person can often be very happy too. They go back to having a childlike look, right? So what is older age really meant to be? You're returning to the source, right? So you're going, like, I remember I saw this like guru that I'd studied, and I remember he was like, I read like these books that he'd written when he's like in his 20s or 30s, and I'd memorized them. I actually read them at Nepali Coast, funny enough, beside a stream. And I saw him, and I went, and he's like right close to his death. So I came up to him and I was like, I thought that I would think it's cool if someone like read my old stuff. So I want to surprise him. So I was like, hey, I read this, like these books that probably nobody read. And I'm like, I read this and this and this. And he just looks up at me and he's just like dissolving in like this like pure love frequency, right? And he's like this, right? And he just want to give me a hug, right? I'm like, yo, like I read this, all this stuff. And he's like, and he just looks at me, he's like, like that, right? And then he's like that, he's probably like 80. He's in a wheelchair, so I just came and I just gave him a hug and you could just feel it like coming over you. And so what did his older age represent? How did he choose to age? By hanging on and joining the Kurzweil Institute? How did he choose to age?
Well,
he chose to let go. That was a return, right? So you can fight and resist. Look, it's good to like, get your little Brian Johnson thing going, take your supplements stuff. And I think it's dope. Like I'm down for that. Like take supplements, take whatever, right? Be healthy. Like care about your temple. Respect yourself, right? But there's a point where you're going to return, okay? So when you're young, you can't imagine that you're gonna return. I'm gonna turn 46 next month. I feel like I'm 5, can you tell? I think I'm literally 5, right? I don't understand, I'm 46, like what? Like I'll be 60 in like 14 years? I remember being a kid, like what, 60? That can't happen, I can't turn 60. I would see people that were 60, I'd say, how does that feel to be 60? They go, right? And I'd be like, that's not a satisfactory answer, right? Like I'm like, that doesn't do it for me. And now I'm 14 years from that, and the past 14 years went like that, okay? So what I'm trying to get at for you is you're going to die, okay? So there's a larger trajectory to your life, and what I'd recommend to you is try to drill down on the essentials, but do so in a way where as you're on your mission and getting like all the fun stuff, go get all that fun stuff, but as you're getting it, think about the larger consequence and like the larger context of what it is that you're doing. And, you know, like how old are you?
I'm 61.
So would you have ever imagined being 61?
No, but I also never imagined being in the presence of somebody who's changed my life so much either.
Yeah, thank you, bro. No, I appreciate that. So
I feel like a kid, really, from what how I've transformed being around Owen, what I've learned from him.
thank you, bro. Yeah, and he says that as a doctor and as a guy who's been like done a lot of really professional stuff. And I think that's what he took from it is like, again, like be a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Corporate America, a lot of that stuff is also hiding from your child nature, right? So what is real success? Kobe died. He had a helicopter. He died in it. What is real success? Freedom. What else is real success?
Being able to be like a child.
Yeah. Right? That's success. It's true. Right? What else is success?
Reconnection.
Waking up and being connected, yeah. What else is success?
A good walk.
A good walk, I like that. Yeah, what else?
Helping others.
Helping other people. What else?
Being present.
Being present, yeah. What else is success?
Learning how to be grateful.
Yeah. But you know what else is success? Money. Okay. Sex. Like a good piece of pussy. Like if you can't enjoy that, you're tripping, bro. Okay? But like, you know, if I have great sex, I'm not sitting there like, yeah, I'm feeding my ego. I'm like, I'm very grateful actually. If I have a great meal, I'm very grateful. If I make some good money or buy a watch, I'm grateful, guys. So I'm grateful for the material stuff too. You should be able to have that. It doesn't have to be like, again, America, it's about, we like to make our meals. You know what I'm saying? But the question is, you know, where's it coming from? That's, you know, that like, are you doing so by really speaking your truth? Are you doing so by living your mission? Are you doing so by living your destiny? Or are you doing it as a take? Because you can make money and you can have great sex and you can do great travel and have fun things, have a cool house from a space of giving. You actually can. It doesn't have to be from a space of taking. But be aware that as you do that, what it's doing to you and how it's impacting you and how you're always transforming, right? You're transforming all the time. And like I said, the most important thing is to be aware again of that membrane, this little, you know, not my cup of tea, but almost like a double penetration thing, right? And not my, I don't, you know, no judgment. But, you know, and it's like you're one membrane away. That's when she gets up, the double penetration. I'm just kidding. How could I? Yeah, but that's where, I had to, I'm a kid. But that's where I'm a kid, I'm a 5-year-old. So but there's like you're one membrane away from touching another man's cock, right? So there's a membrane that's there, right? That's literally the membrane I think of when I think of the between the thing. But anyway, so it's a membrane, right? So you're literally one. What kind of talk would you ever hear from like a spiritual talk with the double penetration? Yeah, so it's like, but it's the membranes there, right? So it's like as you're moving, like what do you represent? What are you tapping into? We think that we have free will. We think we have consciousness. We believe our thoughts are our own. But what if your thoughts are not your own? What if your thoughts are some radio tower that you tuned into? Do you ever see someone really fucked up and you can just tell they're tuned to the wrong station? They're in the wrong station, right? So, you know, as you want awakening and you want acceleration, the light begins to drill down, you know, and it's like a boat that's moving and the light eventually, small little bits of the light kind of come through and you'll feel it and you have to gain in the same way that I could tell Avicii was tapped in the wrong station and you can also see what's the right station. You have to get a palette for that and a sense of that. You got to get a little bit of extra bandwidth to be able to get an attunement to this stuff. And you've got to refine it and you have to have great mentors and talk to people and see what is evil or what is good and you have to, you know, sense it. And over time, you'll get that discernment. You'll see what you're being presented with. You'll see that, you know, movies like Goodfellas or the NWA movie or things like that, where like they're kind of on this massive ascension, but then they have this downfall. So it's like an ounce of pleasure for a pound of pain. So you've got to realize when you're being taken for a ride, okay? If someone's being taken for a ride. And so you'll get an attunement for that. And then as that drills down and you see the light as you move towards it, again, remember I said earlier, it's like so shut that only like certain like dopamine hits and like heroin, whatever can get in. You guys remember that? Over time, you can gradually open that, right? That's what meditation's meant to accomplish, prayer. Helping people, getting out of your own shit, the Sermon on the Mount. You're able to open up, which allows you to gather energy, spiritual energy, light energy, from everything. So the Bhagavad Gita, what's the main premise of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the main Indian spiritual text? It's not our boy, but it's a great text. What's it saying?
Being process-oriented.
It says you're entitled to the action for the action itself, but not what? But not the fruit. If you're always in a state where you're drawing energy, not off getting the thing, but off the process itself, what happens? So let's just say I never went to bed last night. If that's the case, and I come here and I need this to be a certain way, will that be effective if I'm like, fuck, I'm tired, it won't work? So what did I intuitively do at the start of the speech? I took my shirt off, took my hat off, called myself fat, and mocked myself a little bit to break my ego. Intuitively. I know what to do always with this stuff because I've done it so long. So I'm still learning, but it's been a minute I've been on this path. So basically, I did that, joke about myself, get into the flow, and I need to gather energy from the process itself, okay? So as I'm showing you this, I'm providing information, but what am I also showing you? What am I showing you aside from the information? Like, oh, look at this example. What am I showing you from up here?
How to get into a state.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you through the embodiment. I'm trying to show you, I'm not a perfect embodiment by any means. I'm on my path too, right? But I'm trying to show you an example. It's the same reason as when I coach. Like, I don't really like coaching social skills in a room, to be honest with you. I like to go out. That's how I do it. I'm like, look, just come out with me, watch me, let's go. Let's go, baby. And I show it, right? It's like a picture's 1,000 words. Well, real life crazy shit's even more than that. 1,000,000 words, whatever, right? So I try to show it. So I come in here, and have you ever really watched someone do a free associative speech and just go, and they seem to be gaining energy from it, and kind of just looks like they could go the whole night? Kind of looks like they could take 5 days not even sleeping and they could keep going. You ever seen that? You probably rarely would, but you see it here. So the thing is, I'm trying to show you what this is. So did you guys notice I started taking to posting a little bit longer videos of late? But the truth is that I've done seminars like this the last 5 days that are running 18 hours a day. So I started posting longer seminars to show people what that looks like. Because the problem is when you just show the shorter clip, you don't realize the usage of energy and stuff like that, right? I used to have a program that I put out. It was called Endless Motivation, talking about how you gain energy from work. So can you guys also see how coming from a giving perspective allows you to gain energy from work? What would happen as a competitor with other businesses in a healthy way, in an American and healthy way, to each, because iron sharpens iron, so competition is good when iron sharpens iron, in a healthy way, not in an evil way. What happens when you gain energy from working? When it gives you energy? What kind of competitive advantage do you have?
Huge.
What happens when you get in state more from rejection out at a club? What do you guys think happens to me when I take a couple of rejections when I go out? Do you think I gain energy or lose energy from a rejection? Why do I gain energy from a rejection? Same reason why I like take my shirt off here, whatever, right? A bit of embarrassment provides flow, provides non-resistance, because it gets rid of the ego impediment, tap in the Tao, the energy of return. So in other words, you guys watch me. Who here has known about me for like 10 years? Do you guys remember? So I took about 5 years off. Do you guys remember when I was in the peak of what I was doing, how dominant we were as a company? How dominant?
Very, very dominant.
How dominant?
Nobody else existed.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that? Mm-hmm. That's what happens, okay? When your competitors look at you and they go, Does this guy sleep? And then what you do you guys feel like you're maybe riding off this energy too?
Yes.
So then you have a team, and they're riding off that energy. So the founder, in many ways, what is their role in the business? They're the spark. They're the vision and the spark. In other words, they are meant to be, from my point of view, the way I think about it, they are that piercing, okay? Right? Notice how when you pierce, it feels good, right? Piercing, it's true. Yeah. You're literally the guy who goes, the energy's not out here, boys. It's here, out. They get energized. You guys win. Okay? So there's a lot of practical applications. Again, not sick in 14 years up till now. I don't need to sleep if I don't want to. Okay, I didn't sleep last night. I try to get like a lot of good sleep habits. Didn't happen to last night. Marketing pieces, mansion parties, girls, fun. You guys catch my point here? So it's abstract, but is it practical?
Yes.
I'm trying to give you a couple Skittles here, if you know what I mean. Okay? I'm like, I don't know if these guys, because you remember I was saying with Vincent, it's like, we're up in the mountain, the beautiful snow. You see God up there, but he can't. He can see Skittles. So when I teach you guys a course, I'll show you here where it's going, but I'll give you some Skittles too, right? I'm not a dickhead in that way. Dickhead in other ways, perhaps. But I'm not going to say, no sexy time, no money, right? I'm going to say, where are you at? What do you really want right now? And why don't we go get that so it doesn't seem like so much of a big deal? Does that make sense? Why don't we just go get it? Just get it out of the way so it's not a big deal. So for me, getting money or learning social skills gave me the freedom to realize it's not the be-all, end-all. So what did that satiation do for me? Gave me time, right? So it gave me time to focus on the deeper parts of life. But in truth, does a 22-year-old need to even really be focused on this exact stuff 100% of the time? What should a 22-year-old focus on? Maybe building a little online business, building the funnel, right? Building a funnel, getting a girlfriend, okay? So I think that's why we have younger teachers, older teachers, right? We can learn from a 5-year-old kid running around on a playground, right? You can learn from everybody. So an older teacher, I'm 46, right? I'd have a more evolved teaching at 60. We'd look at this, we'd think that this was archaic. And you know, I'd have a more, so I have a 23-year mature teaching as of doing this. I could have a 40-year mature teaching by then, right? We evolve. So, we look at me like, look, he was a young buck. That's funny, right? But that's what will happen if I live. So basically what you have is that there's different paradigms that you're at, right? So somebody who's older can show you, here's a potential place that you might want to arrive, okay? And then a younger person can say, I got to build a funnel. Like my buddy David Mitchell's right there, right? David, I can tell you resonated a lot with the speech, right? Yeah. But you made what, 50 grand last month or something?
Yeah.
Yeah? So did learning a bit of this stuff help you make that 50 grand in a month?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you shooting this, Ibrahim, or are we just going to pretend he's not? We can see him? Okay. So David?
Yes, sir.
Did you make around, I think it was 55K last month?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
22.
Okay, so here, just for the people that think this is too abstract, okay? Because they got to hammer it. So David, so you're 22, right?
Yep.
You took some courses.
Took some courses.
You made 55 grand last month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you resonate with this stuff here?
Yeah. 100%.
But in truth, as cool as this is, do you kind of want to hope to maybe make 60 grand next month?
I want to make like 100 grand in like the next couple months.
Okay. Okay, so give me a hand, guys, right? Now, does David need to go run off to a forest and cry to God right now, or should he go make his next 100K?
More money.
But to tell you the truth, what I didn't tell you is because a lot of time I become friends with guys that take my courses. We became friends, and tell them what we did something a little bit kind of quirky. So tell them briefly like what we did last month, because we just became friends from him taking courses.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, bro, you want to like come on this road trip? And yeah, I just dropped everything. I only had 2 days of clothes packed, and then we were out for like 2 weeks, like 14 days, just like hitting national parks, and it was sick as fuck.
What did we see?
fucking beautiful. Like, I can't even put it into words, but yeah, it was super dope.
Up in the mountains.
Up in the mountains, Horseshoe Bend, like Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Vegas, LA. Like, it was just like place after place after place after place, like doing it every. Best part was I didn't have to think. I was just on the roll. Yeah.
And did you even imagine stuff as beautiful that exists?
No, yeah, I had never been on that side of the country, seen any of that. Yeah. So I was super glad for the invite. You were like, he gave me a lesson. He said, like, yes, you could do it, but the question is, would you do it? And he's like, it's right in front of you. And so, like, I took a second and I, practiced my discernment. Like, yeah, I'm looking at it. I'll choose to see it. Yeah, let's rock.
Got it. Give me a hand for that, guys. That was sick. That was a fun trip. That was really fun. Yeah. So I really live this up, guys. I'm not just out trying to get paper all the time. I'm out having fun, right? And that kind of gives you like a preview of what maybe life at 40 would look like. This whole other world to explore, right? So I'm not going to be sitting in David's ear going like, you just got to go in the forest for 5 years, don't get laid, and don't fucking get your money, right? But it's just at every level there's lessons. So that gave you a preview of the ways in which your perception and energy may open up as you're older, but also you could do some of it now. Like now that you did that, would you maybe do a week of that a year?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, right? So the thing is, like, guys, we're up in the Rocky Mountains. Like, I mean, we saw some crazy shit. There's like fucking tundra up there and shit. It was crazy. Look up Rocky Mountain National Park. There's like roads up to the top of the Rockies. Like you're seeing mooses. Like it's crazy. Seeing moose. So the point is, though, can you guys see how that's the lesson that he needs? Like, he's where he's supposed to be. Make sense?
Yes.
You guys want to make your first $50K in a month?
Yes.
Okay, right? So, if you got to know David better, you'd see he has a lot of energy, right? And he's cultivating that via training. So that's why you'll see me kind of hopscotch between different types of trainings. Different people are at different levels, different people are different paradigms, different people need different things, okay? So your awareness is not gonna, again, this is my problem with like overuse of psychedelic stuff. Your awareness is not meant to be skyrocketed ahead and then back and ahead and back and back. Embrace where you are right now. Take the lesson that's in front of you right now. Get the best mentors, get the best books, get the best experiences, and walk your path. And life is a real mystery, guys. It really is. It's a fucking mystery. So, the thoughts that I shared here, it's just some dude, right? What I think is that I shouldn't be, the way that I'm talking should not be unique to a 46-year-old man. I'm almost 46. I think any guy who's approaching his mid-40s should have a philosophy about what his life means. So whether or not you agreed with my philosophy of what life means, perhaps take that as an example to consider your own. And remember this, in life, you can get a whole bunch of different stuff, but it's your capacity the quality of your consciousness and the way you experience this can really be the determining factor. There's people with everything who have nothing, and there's people with nothing who have everything. And then there's people with everything who have everything. So I'm hoping that you can become someone who has everything and has everything, okay? So this is a video that I'm in a talk that I'm creating within the context of a lot of other work that I do and stuff. I'm gonna do some exercises with you and I'm gonna, send you out in like a really cool way. But this is a beautiful, memorable, I'll always remember tonight for the rest of my life and being here with you guys. And thank you guys for pulling this out of me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. This is cool. Yeah.